What is up, Wolverine Nation? I got my boy Darren Talks Ball. What's
I don't
good,
know why I'm
bro?
doing this. I feel like this was a thing we did in
Hey,
the 90s. I'm just
bro.
showing my age here, man.
Bro, you got to give the people what they want, bro.
Do
So
they
it's all
want
good.
this though? How many people want this?
I mean, we
Really?
could put a poll. We
No
could
one
put a poll in
wants
the
this.
chat. We could
Let's
find
put
out.
a poll in the chat. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't tell you when we were backstage before the show, but my first 2 appearances on other podcasts were hosted by Ohio State fans. So it feels great to be in good company here with some other Michigan folks. So I'm excited.
I feel like you're hanging out with the wrong people, bro. But anyways, all right. So
Maybe.
I am your host, TJ Ronan. You can find me at Twitter at TJ_Ronan. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also, our channel is offering YouTube memberships. It's a great way to be a part of the community. We just had our first member meeting yesterday, which was it was legit, man. Like it literally got so good that we literally had to say we got to get off or we're going all night. So it was good talk with everybody, getting to know everybody, know their origin stories as a Michigan fan. We talked a little Jim Harbaugh and the Ward situation. We got into some details on some things. It was a good time. So again, everyone who joined the member hangout yesterday, we appreciate you. Thank you for being a member. As you can see at the bottom, our members are scrolling. We are jumping heavy numbers in that area. So I appreciate everyone contributing to that. Also, I want to let everybody know we are on audio podcasts. We are on Spotify, we are on Audible, we're on Amazon. You can check us out there. We upload our audio version of the Tuesday show. I'm going to start potentially doing the Thursday show, and I do my recruiting breakdowns on there. You can check it out. And then I also want to hit on, we are now on Twitch, and we just received, I know John's in the comments. Shout out John, my boy. We just received our first comment on Twitch Tuesday, so that was a good milestone for us. We are trying to hit 50 followers on Twitch so we can unlock some things so we can do more with the channel. If you guys have a Twitch, check it out. Give it a follow. We greatly appreciate that. And then lastly, I just want to say we greatly appreciate every single one of you. I'm talking about the moderators, the fans, the viewers, everyone contributing to the channel, all the positive feedback. We're still getting more on social media. I get them in the comments on the videos. Honestly, it means a lot because a lot of you are saying very high praise things. And we appreciate that. And we're not going to stop. We're going to keep going. But let's get to the topics at hand. First, let me introduce Darren Talks Ball. Let them know where they can find you, man.
All right, let's try that again. What's up, everybody? Really excited to be here again. Darren Talks Ball. Easy to find. Just YouTube /Darren Talks Ball. No more socials for me, really. No more Twitter or anything like that. It's the only place you can really find me. So yeah, hit me up there. Subscribe. We do also have a Discord. You'll find the link in any of the videos you watch, and in the descriptions, you can join my Discord where we're talking ball 24/7. You kind of get early access to my videos and stuff that way too. But yeah, happy and excited to be here. Excited to talk Michigan football with you guys.
Oh, yeah, man. Let's get it. All right. Let me bring up we have what is known, Darren, as a Kenneth Grant Ohio State chase down tracker. It has been updated. Let's bring it up. Here we are. We have made some ground. We are chasing down Ryan Day in the Voice of College Football Ohio State channel. We made some ground. We jumped about 50 subscribers in 2 days, so we appreciate that. Our goal is to catch Ryan Day and let him know what the deal is, and then become not only the second largest channel in the network, but then we're coming from Miami. But when we get to Ohio State, we'll figure out our next graphic for that one. But we appreciate all the new viewers. It means a lot to me, John and Ferris. We're having a ball with this, and we're going to keep going. So if you could please like and subscribe to our channel to help us catch the Ohio State channel and the Voice of College Football Network, we'd greatly appreciate it because, let's be honest, Ohio State should never be on over Michigan at anything, not even water polo. I don't give a shit what it is. It could be tennis. It could be
we letting them have nothing.
Bro, nothing. It could be beer pong. There's not a damn thing they should ever be over Michigan on. It definitely isn't the Voice of College Football. Network.
Also, just 1 sec, if I can interrupt, because I see the chat here. Moose, I'm so sorry. I did not delete you as a friend. I see your comments. I deleted Twitter altogether. So we're all good still. We're all good. Still love you, Moose. I know you drop in my live streams from time to time. We're good. I just deleted Twitter as a whole. I'm not on Twitter anymore. Just want to make that clear.
He's just taking some personal time away from Twitter. It's all good.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So everybody watching, we are on commit watch is what we're on. There is going to be a commit possibly dropping while we're on. And if there is a commit dropping while we're on, we're going to cover it. Also, if you guys want to call in, there is a link in the description. You can call in through the description. We could talk ball. We could talk recruiting. We could talk Big Ten, team, anything. If you guys watched Tuesday's show, I told you to be on alert that we should be landing a commitment this week. If anybody's paying attention to the socials, that's good money. We did receive a silent. It's just about it becoming public. So it's either going to happen tonight, and it could, or tomorrow would be my best guess. If not tonight, tomorrow. I probably shouldn't put a time frame on it. I did say this week, but I do think it could happen tonight. If it doesn't happen tonight, it's happening soon. It's going down. So when it does happen, you already know I'll have a breakdown of the player. I think people will be happy when it goes down, but I'm not going to say his name out of respect for the recruitment. And if you notice, it's been pretty quiet for a reason. So we'll keep it there. But anyways, Darren, so
All right.
in Michigan recruiting, what's your thoughts on it? Any players sticking out to you that we got so far?
So I'm not going to lie, and I mention this often on my channel. I'm not the biggest recruiting guy. And I know we were talking about it a little bit backstage before the show. There's kind of a reason for that. I don't cover too much recruiting on my channel because it is a ton of work, and my hat's off to anybody who does a lot of it. I'm a fan who started a channel. I don't have like any inside connections or anything, but I say that, and then it feels like every year around this time, I find myself getting sucked into it. And actually lately, every morning as I get up, I've been checking 24/7 for Michigan's most recent commits, because I feel like that's how much has been popping off lately. I think what we've climbed from 46 or something like that, or even in like the 50s up into like, and we're at number 15 now. So I know there's a lot of dudes on the board. Boateng is one that I'm really excited about, the linebacker. I know that guy's really fast and long, lanky, kind of works all over the field, sideline to sideline. That's definitely a linebacker that you want in modern day college football. And then, man, who else do we got out there on the board right now? I'm blanking on names because I feel like there's honestly so many of them right now. I'm curious. I want to hear it. This is what sucks me into recruiting every time of year. It's like that hot gossip, hot tea, that insider info is just like boiling over at all times with all this stuff. It's an exciting time for college football, really an exciting time to be a Michigan fan. So, no
doubt. I mean, Michigan is definitely getting their game together. You know, obviously we went from 50, we're now 15. We're trending in the next, I'd say 2 weeks, we should be hitting top 12. I would say that's good money. It's looking good. I will say this though. So I'm actually glad we just went down this road, even though my intention was to talk recruiting, but it's very obvious we are at a point in recruiting where things are getting more intense. Spots are becoming limited in terms of classes. Elite players are becoming limited because there's less chairs in terms of so what you're seeing is, and we're noticing because it just happened this weekend, NIL offers are increasing. Teams are becoming more aggressive in their approaches. I've received word on how Ohio State got Quincy Porter to commit. And let's just say it's an aggressive act, to say the least.
Wait, is it any different from the way they get anyone else big name to commit to them? I mean, all right, I'll just say they gave him an ultimatum. Pre-NIL?
They gave him an ultimatum where, if you go to your Michigan visit, the offer's off the table. And he canceled his Michigan visit the day that he was supposed to be there.
That's so crazy to me. That is so crazy. Because I feel like there's and I can go down a whole rabbit hole with this, and I'll try not to, but I feel like that's an interesting aspect of the rivalry too. There's so many things with either the programs, Michigan or Ohio State, where they're so philosophically juxtaposed against each other. I couldn't see Sharon Moore or even Jim Harbaugh before him doing that with any because all of our big name players from this last year's national championship team at times were big Ohio State recruits, high up on their board. Of course, JJ and Dono and even Blake to some extent back in, what was it, the 2020 and 2021 classes. I just can't imagine Jim Harbaugh being Donovan Edwards, because at one point he was an Ohio State lean. I just can't imagine Jim Harbaugh being you need offers off the table. You're talking to Ohio State. This is crazy to me. Anyway, sorry to interject with all that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. I was actually just checking Twitter to see. Hey, chat, keep your eye on Twitter, because if it goes down, I want to cover it. So I'll stay away from Twitter. But no, you're right. So the reality is, Jim Harbaugh had a different philosophy, and they're still using this philosophy now, which is they don't force kids or pressure kids to commit. They don't have a no visit policy. And they tell kids they want them to take their visits. So this way, the choice this way, if they choose Michigan, they know it's the place for them. And there is obviously pros and cons to that strategy, right? So the pro to that strategy would simply be, this is why our transfer portal numbers are far less, because they actually want to be there. Where a lot of kids are going to schools because they're being promised either a lot of money or they were kind of forced in their decision. Like, what relationship in anything in life goes well when you say, you're here, and if you do X, Y, or Z, then it's done. Like, you can't limit people, right? And like, especially these kids at such a young age, like, we all know we were all young. Like, I don't know. I think Michigan's approach is probably the healthiest way to go about it. It's just the truth is the initial response in terms of like commitments might be less because they're not as aggressive. But at the end of the day, let's be real though. We're 3-time Big Ten champions. We won a national title. It's working, right? So I mean, and I know a lot of our players are pre-NIL, but look, we're in the NIL era now, and Michigan's now a competitive team in NIL. So I mean, they are doing something right.
No, I feel like Michigan's approach gets the right type of player for their culture, and especially for their culture, the right type of player is the player that really wants to be there. And for as much credit as we give, like, NIL as being this powerful force in modern day college football that really like causes kids to make certain decisions, I think sometimes we don't give the kids themselves enough credit for being as smart as they are and really taking their time to make these decisions. And that's also the type of kid that Michigan tends to get, the smart kids, the ones that don't just see, oh, I can make $3 million next year if I go to Texas A&M. These kids are seeing, like, who's going to get me into the NFL, and not only get me into the NFL, but get me as like a first, second, or third round draft pick, as a day 1 or day 2 pick, where I'm really going to be making the money. And I think that's the right approach. And, you know, sometimes, you know, it's easy to kind of fall in the pitfalls of recruiting too, and hope to get all the big 4- and 5-star kids. But recruiting, I'll say this all day long too, isn't an exact science. And just because a kid is a 3-star or a lower level 4-star doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they're going to play out as we've seen time and time again. So I really like their approach. I like that they've upped NIL and all that stuff at the same time too, which is now leading into getting some more higher rated guys, or at least getting in the conversation. So
So the player has been revealed as the player who's on commit watch. It's Julius Holly, 6'3", 230, Sam linebacker out of Georgia. Prediction, he's on commit watch June 29th, which will be Saturday. Now, what's interesting about that is, I'll say this, that's not the player I'm aware of that's about to commit. So that's huge. There's another player who's also on the verge of committing, and I'm interested to see who goes first, because this would be a major get. I mean, this is a strong get. So this would be our Sam backer. This would be the linebacker in the David Ojabo role, who would play opposite of the rush backer, who's Nate Marshall. Or I'm sorry, the rush edge. Forgive me. The rush edge, who's Nathan Marshall, the top 50 commit. So this is your guy who will play opposite of him. This is nice, man. We'll see it. I guess apparently it's going to go public Saturday, but it's still good to see that Michigan just potentially highly likely landed Julius Holly to be a Michigan Wolverine. So that's good to know. This is a good get, guys.
So just to clarify, we've got like crystal balls coming in and stuff for him. So what
just happened. So it looks like Bryce Marriage here. Let's see. There's one prediction. It's Bryce Marriage.
Okay.
Yep. He just put it in at
nice.
Well, that's 650. So that's actually 650. Interesting. Yeah. So that's Bryce Marriage. We'll see. I don't know. That's all I got on it for now, but that's still good news. I mean, this is a good player. We didn't cover him a lot, and the reason why is because he was looking at a lot of other teams, but apparently Michigan made a move this week. So that's great. That's great to see. We'll have more on that. If any news breaks or if a player happens to commit, we'll have it covered. So that
would be a really nice. Anytime we can get a highly rated edge player out of the state of Georgia or any of those southern states, really, I will be happy for it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, dude. I love getting the kids out of. I love getting the Juju.
Get that off the screen. We can't give that away yet.
We can only give away
so much information at a time.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be public with that.
We gotta tease some things here, man.
But anyways, all right, Darren. Let me ask you, bro.
All right.
Who? Give me your call. All right, let me give you two. Who do you want to be QB1, and who do you think is going to be QB1 week 1?
Who I want and who are going to be, I think, are the same thing. I think it's Alex Orji all the way. Yeah, anyone who's followed my videos, anyone who's been following my channel for a while, I've kind of done a few videos breaking down the different quarterback prospects that Michigan has on roster to be QB1. But I think it is interesting. I know this is a little bit of tea leaf reading here, but anytime Michigan has like an event or anytime the players through spring ball and stuff had interviews, Alex Orji was kind of front and center. I think that kind of tells me something. I think Sharon Moore, in some of the interviews he had, has always taken the time out of the interview to give Alex Orji credit for the leader that he is. And speaking of the culture at Michigan football, I think they really value that. You know, most of all the guys that they've gotten in the transfer portal over the past few years have been guys that are former captains. They really value leadership on the field and off the field. I think it's easy to go all cliche and kind of like old school football talk to really lean into like, let's ground and pound and play single wing offense and just grind the clock and, you know, have 300 yards of rushing every game. I don't think that aspect of it is really that alluring to me anymore, because what I saw in the spring game, you know, he was playing against like second and third team guys largely in the secondary on the other side, but he was like 72% on his passes, and he had some good passes too. He had a quick out route to Peyton O'Leary for a completion that was right on the money. I think low key he could be a better passer, pure passer, than what a lot of people are saying. And if he just completes a decent amount of balls, the athleticism is there, as we've seen. And let's be honest too, like they did with JJ McCarthy in his first couple of years on campus, Michigan played him in some spots in some big games last season. And I think that also counts for something as well. They really trust him. He played in the Rose Bowl. He came in the Rose Bowl on that final drive. And although the play didn't end up being anything, but from that final 4 minutes and 41 seconds on, that I'll never forget, because I felt like I was going to go into cardiac arrest at any moment. They were, their season and everything for them was on the line, and they brought Alex Orji out there for a play. I think that means something going forward. I think they really trust him, and I think the other guys in the room are really going to have to show out if they really want a chance. That's just my take. Obviously, I don't really have any insider knowledge. I haven't been to spring practice or anything like that, but that's my takeaway from what I saw at the spring game. I wasn't at the spring game in person. That's where I'm at with it.
Bro, you're very aligned with us at the channel. We also think it's Alex Orji because of, one, the emphasis the coaches are making on it. Two, he played in the impact games, critical moments. You know, obviously very similar to what JJ did with Cade McNamara. Obviously, Alex didn't throw as much. He was more of a run first option, but I agree, man. I do think it's Alex Orji, but we'll see. I don't discount Davis Warren or even Jack Tuttle. I know we've given, you know, anyone who watches knows our opinion on Jack Tuttle. Listen, it will be a battle. They're not going to hand it to him. So, yeah, I know. It's the question of the summer, man. We have literally 2 more months before we know the verdict. And I don't think they'll announce it before week 1. I mean, I think they might announce it like either going to announce it the end of camp or they're going to announce it before the Texas game. I think it's possible they do a dual quarterback, you know, like they let 2 quarterbacks go for it in week 1 and then may best man win. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see. Yeah,
it might be difficult to do that too, though, because I think a lot of people, I'm not saying that there's like Michigan should be an upset alert for this game or anything, but the Fresno State game, first week of the season, I think Fresno State is like up there in the 50s in preseason SP plus, and that's not really saying too much, but they're not like a cupcake.
Right.
So I could see them doing that too if they're really down to like Davis Warren or Jack Tuttle and Alex Orji are really, really playing well in fall camp. But me personally, I'd rather have it settled before that Fresno State game, because that is more of a test. They're ranked higher, and I don't. This isn't also saying very much either, but Fresno State's ranked higher in preseason SP plus than all 3 of Ohio State's out of conference opponents. So that's a thing. That's nice. It's more of a tougher test than most people think. So I don't know if you necessarily want to throw, because it throws your offense out of rhythm, especially when you go from a guy like Alex Orji, who you're going to be running like quarterback bash and power and counter and stuff with, to, you know, Davis Warren, who's more of I call him a poor man's JJ McCarthy. I think he tries to do a lot of the things JJ did, just not quite at like the A+ level that JJ did. I'd say it's more of a B+ level, and that can win you some games too. But yeah, I definitely want it settled before the season. But I think people also discount the potential there are in all the quarterbacks. You know, if you go back to, I think it was eons ago now, like we're in the Jurassic era back when Jack Tuttle came on campus for the first time back at Indiana. But I think his recruiting grade out of high school was like a 94, 95 composite. He wasn't a slouch, and he remains not much of a slouch. He was beat out by this guy named Michael Penix for the starting job at Indiana, who we've learned is, a pretty good quarterback. So.
No, I agree, man. I think obviously he was an elite, but look, I mean, I agree he was an elite or higher end prospect coming out of high school. I don't know have you seen his numbers by any means? Like, have you seen his statistics in 21 games? He's a 59% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, a 1-to-1 ratio, like 1,100 yards. I mean, just for me, I'm not confident in that. I'm not confident in that option. Yeah. And if that is our quarterback, I think the ceiling is far lower for the team as a whole, but we'll see. I mean, look, this is all obviously just speculation. It's all, we have no idea. I mean, look, I want whoever the best quarterback is. I don't care if it's freaking Donovan Edwards. Like, I don't care who it is. I want the best man for the job. So whoever gets it, gets it. But let me give a shout out to Chris Carter. He is now a Those Who Stay member. We appreciate you, man, for joining the channel.
All right.
It's much appreciated. Yeah, it's much appreciated, man. So shout out to Chris Carter. Go Blue, my friend. All right, man. Let's bring up our first caller. It is none other than Jackson, the man Johnson. What's up, bro?
How's it going, gents? How you doing tonight?
It's going, bro. What's good?
Oh man, I'm just excited about what concurred today when I saw on FBS schedules when I saw that Michigan State Notre Dame is coming back for at least a couple of years, which I suspect is going to be longer than that, but that's the year. But Notre Dame has Purdue back on their schedule for the next 5 years. Notre Dame's got Michigan State back on the schedule for 2026, 2027. I know Notre Dame, Michigan is scheduled to come back in 2033 and 2034, but nobody is waiting that long for that to happen. And I know for a fact NBC's not going to let it wait that long. What do you guys think?
I think if you're going to schedule that many, thank you. I think if you're going to schedule that many Big Ten teams, why not just join the conference while you got the chance?
Talking and dodging, bro.
Notre Dame has been the privileged child of NCAA college football for eons now, and people think I hate on Ohio State. Really, one of the programs I hate on the most, low key, is Notre Dame because of the way that they've acted over the years with flirting with conferences and taking advantage of the benefit of kind of flirting with them and like, oh, maybe we'll dip in our toe with the ACC. Yeah, we'll play you guys, and it's like. And then all this stuff of like, we're one of the biggest brands in college football. That's kind of gone away. You were the only team on TV back in the 1960s. Everyone's got cable now, bro. But yeah, I think it's exciting though. I definitely would love to see the Notre Dame Michigan game come back potentially sooner. That would be really cool because I don't want to wait till the 2030s. I will be in my 40s by then. I don't want to wait till my 40s. I grew up with Michigan Notre Dame every season, and that was always a good game. Even Notre Dame Michigan State, they had some great matchups. I think even back in like the Nick Saban days at Michigan State, there were some good games there, and it's good like Midwestern football, which I'm all here for. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, and you mentioned great matchups in the history of the Notre Dame Michigan State. Celebrating the 60th anniversary of 10-10 tie game of the century matchup that occurred. So that's going to be.
Oh, man. That'll be cool. Are they going to start that off at Michigan State or at Notre Dame? I imagine they'd start it off at Notre Dame, wouldn't they?
You would think so, the way they are.
Yeah.
I believe that they're starting it off in South Bend. So that on September 19th of 2026. And September 18th, 2027, it'll be in East Lansing. I'll never forget that fake field goal. I'm never going to forget.
Yeah, that was wild. That was the height of the Mark D'Antonio days too, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, Brad Nessler got a little excited calling that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I bet you he'll be excited calling that game if it's on CBS.
Yeah, I don't know who would get that one, really.
Dan,
Yeah.
what's your outlook for the season this year? Like, what are you thinking? What do you think is the realistic win target, and what do you think is the possible? What's the high? What's the low in your opinion?
So it's funny you bring it up. I actually did a whole series of like way too early preview and prediction videos for like all of the top tier teams in the Big Ten. I actually think I did 11 out of 18, which I'm going to pat myself on the back for on that one. That was, not going to lie, a lot of research, a lot more research than I thought it would be. But if I remember back right, when I did the research for my Michigan, when I basically determined that there is a floor, of 8-4, and a ceiling of 10-2 or 11-1, but I've got them marked down as a 10-2 this season. I do think it'll be a step back. I do think we have to admit, first year head coach, and yes, Sherrell Moore is undefeated as an interim, but we all know there's a big difference between fully running a program and just running a program on Saturdays. That being said, I see a lot of 8-4, 7-5, even 6-6 is being thrown around there. You guys' cohorts over at the Ohio State side of the Voice of College Football, I watch their streams sometimes, and it's entertaining seeing Kevin Yoon go off on why Michigan's going to suddenly become the worst program in the Big Ten just because of Georgie and and Sherrell Moore being the head coach, but I guess you're entitled to your opinion. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, I do think the schedule isn't favorable this season. And I will say it is exciting to play somebody early on in the year, but I really think we're probably looking at that matchup with Texas is a big one that I'm concerned about as a Michigan fan, because I do think that Steve Sarkisian's offensive scheme specifically, I think he's going to watch the film of that Washington National Championship game and be licking his chops, because there was some things that Washington was able to do in that game that were effective against our defense that Texas also kind of likes to do at times. And then we're probably looking at, depending on how the rest of the season goes, how much the offense solidifies. We do also have to admit, I know this is a Michigan show, and we've probably got a lot of people on here that will disagree with me, but we're probably looking at this point as this being the first season in a while that we've lost to Ohio State. So that's where I have the two losses coming from right now. But I can see the closer we get to the season, the more I think this just feels like Michigan's going to do it again against Ohio State. They're going to punk them. Because let's admit it, kind of 2022 was a big punking when everyone thought that Ohio State was just going to take the rivalry back over, that 2021 was a blip on the radar. And the same narratives perpetuate. Everyone out there kind of nationally, I think, is like, okay, the last 3 years were a blip on the radar. We're going to get back to normal here. And it just feels like there's something in the air there, like it could happen again. But I'll kind of leave it at that.
All right. Well, hold up. Let me ask you this. Hold on, Jackson.
Oh,
the fuck?
I was
Hold on, Jack.
Derek. He did a video and predictions. Is it the 5-ball predictions that you did?
No, that would be a while back. I believe back in April it would have been. I did a full 45-minute long Michigan season preview and prediction.
Oh, wow.
Video where I broke down the schedule, I broke down the roster, the transfers coming in, all that good stuff.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, Darren, hold up.
Sorry about
hold
that.
up, Jackson.
Oh,
I got to ask you a question. Hey, all right, let's talk about this Texas game. So you think Texas is going to come in here and you think Sarkisian's got a better team. So let me ask you this. You've looked at how much talent.
Not necessarily a better team. I just think that schematically there's kind of a rock, paper, scissors matchup there that is somewhat in favor of Texas to where they can score enough points to beat us. Just wanted to throw out a little correction there.
All right, but you do know they've lost every single weapon from wide receiver to tight end and running back, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the thing that does also give, if we're going to go player by player, the thing that does give me some hope in that game too, and I'm not saying Michigan is for sure going to lose that game or anything. I'm not saying it's like the lock of the century. It would be very bold of me to say something like that as a fan. But the thing that gives me hope is that I believe they lost both of those big defensive tackles from last season. Was it Sweat and the other guy?
Right. Exactly. So the middle's different. Correct.
And that's what Texas really did to people last season was they were like, you are not running up the middle. We don't need to commit our linebackers too much to the run game. We can play a lot more zone. We can drop guys here and there because these defensive tackles are just going to eat. And those guys aren't there. And they don't, from what I've seen, they don't exactly have a Kenneth Grant and Mason Graham waiting in the wings to take over there. So I do see our running game being effective. It's early in the season. New coach, new quarterback, whoever it may be. 10 out of 11 new offensive starters. I could see some mistakes being made against that Texas defense that isn't too complicated. And then Texas being able to score enough points, because I do think Sarkisian is a good enough offensive mind to figure out any scheme. They're going to score some points. It's not going to be a shutout. Let's admit it. And you do bring up a good point. You know, they lost, I'm blanking on names right now, A.D. Mitchell and the other guy, the really fast
David
guy that was
Worthy.
committed to Michigan at one point.
David Worthy, Brooks.
Yeah.
And then they lost their tight
They
end.
lost the tight end, that big tight end.
Obviously,
that
they have viewers. They have the quarterback advantage, but like in my
Mm-hmm.
opinion, offensively, they're going to be new, just as we are. They do have a more established quarterback, but our offensive line, in my opinion, will still be better than their offensive line, even though they have arguably the best left tackle.
Yeah.
Well, they have the arguably the best left tackle in the draft, like projected best left tackle next season. I can't remember his name right now, and then defensively, they've lost their starting corner, second corner. They lost the defense, their two stalwarts in the middle of the defensive line. I think, I'm not saying it's going to be an easy victory by any means, but I am saying I think Michigan, they're coming to us week 2, early in the year. I think we still have enough returning, especially defensively, that, and like we have our Donovan Edwards, we have our Colson Loveland, we have Samaj Morgan and Tyler Morris. Like, I just feel Michigan it all obviously all falls on the quarterback's shoulders, right? As long as we can get competent quarterback play, I do feel like Michigan can pull away with that victory. I mean, that's not obviously they're the big game, and it is a question mark, and it's going to be an elite matchup, and it's going to be some heavyweights going toe to toe. But I don't think I see people like predicting Texas. I'm like, well, has anyone seen what they lost? They lost their entire offense except quarterback and offensive line, and they even lost some players there too. But and then defensively, they lost their strength. They're like, Texas defense was not amazing. It wasn't good.
It wasn't great either personnel wise or schematically. They ran a rather simple
their strength is gone.
Yeah,
it's gone. So we'll see. Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
You make fair points. I'd say it, like, for me, confidence level wise, it's probably like a 60-40 Texas lean split right now, or maybe even like a 55-45 if we want to get technical. I just haven't seen anything from Michigan's offense yet, and I know that teams tend to struggle early in the season with new quarterbacks, new head coach, brand new offensive line. And, you know, let's admit it, even though they're replacing a lot, Texas is a lot like a Penn State or a Michigan or a Notre Dame in recruiting. They've still got guys who were highly touted out of high school coming up. So there's going to be guys, on that roster who maybe names we don't know right now, but could end up being stars themselves. And I do like Steve Sarkisian as a coach. I think I had a very low opinion of him a few years ago, obviously after the USC stuff and his stint in Alabama and all that. But he's made Texas, I hate to say it, I'm not a big fan of the program as a whole, but Texas is back for now, and I got to give him credit for that. And yeah.
Let's give a shout out to Nick, TJ, and Darren. Thanks for all the amazing content. Shout out to you, Nick. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us in the meeting yesterday, or the hangout yesterday. Good talking ball with you, bro. I would also classify you as a ball knower, bro. So thanks for not only contributing to the channel, but being a member and also watching the show, bro. So shout out to Nick. We appreciate Nick. All right, Jackson. We got a caller on the line. Let me grab him. But bro, I appreciate you for calling in. Also, I'll be talking to you this weekend because we got plans, which we will be announcing next week. Jackson Johnson will be a part of a new venture for the Voice of College Football, which we are excited to announce. But that is going to have to wait until next week, and we will definitely have it on Tuesday's show. So thank you, Jackson. I'll be hitting you up probably this weekend. We'll talk some more. All right, bro?
All right, man. Stay safe, stay cool, stay away from that heat, everybody.
Yeah, see you, man. Nice talking.
Yeah, peace, bro. All right, man. We're going to bring a good friend, a Jack Tuttle supporter, the man, the myth, the legend, Keith Rebar. What is up, man?
Hey, guys. How's it going? Yeah.
It's going. Great, it's a great day to be a Wolverine.
Hey, TJ, I got to tell you something off the bat, and I'm not your father. I'm not your father, but just take this as some good advice from a friend.
All right, man, I'll take it. Let's do it.
We have to refrain from titles like so-and-so is not the guy. These are all young kids. I think Tuttle's old at 22. And some of these kids are 18, 19 years old that we're talking about. And and they're also part of the Michigan team,
They are.
And there might be a time we're called in through, desperation or injury or something, that some of these guys that we're saying are not this or that might happen to be shining for us, and we don't want to knock those players down before their time.
I mean, listen, I respect what you're saying, but like, would you say, Keith, it's fair to say, I mean, do you think everybody is the guy?
I think Sharon Moore, I think, would tell you we like all of our quarterbacks. One of them will come to the top, but we'll feel confident with any of them.
But is that true?
I think it is true.
No,
unless you have somebody that's a total bonehead. And I can't think of a Michigan quarterback we've had in the last 30 years that was a total bonehead. The guys we get here are good. If you see their high school tapes, they all look elite and they look really good.
Well, I mean, they are the best. They are the best. That's why they're in college. They're the best in their area. They're the best on their teams. And Tuttle was an elite player. Look, I don't hate Jack Tuttle, but like, I have to be honest with the viewers. Like, Keith, if I say to everyone watching right now, like, oh, Tuttle's it, guys. Tuttle is the man. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be running through the playoffs and we're gonna get a natty. Like, that's not being honest. I have to be honest to everybody. Like, if I truly don't believe it, I can't fake it.
But carry it out, TJ. Carry it out. Let's say you have a list of 2 or 3 offensive linemen and defensive linemen and defensive backs. Do you start listing all those players that can't do the job?
That's what we do when we go through depth charts, though. Like this, if a guy competes, say we got who is it, Anderson, and we've got the other guy, Crippen, competing for starting center right now.
Right, Raheem Anderson. Right,
like whoever ends up being number 2 on the depth chart by default, de facto, is not the guy. And I think, like TJ mentioned a few minutes ago, these guys have all been playing football, their entire lives. And when we're talking about recruiting and all that, and evaluating them as like young kids, they know the game by now. They know that it's a matter of competition, and if they don't get the number 1 job, that's. And I hear what you're saying. I myself on my channel and my videos try not to say anything too, condemning of a player. I don't try to, because they are young kids. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, this guy's garbage or trash or anything like that. I don't really jive with that either. But I think it's more than fair to say like, oh, you're just not the guy. And that happens, outside of football. That happens in day-to-day life. I've had jobs before where I had to come to the realization, or even my employer came to the realization like, hey, man, this isn't for you. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm not the guy here. I'm going to move on and find something I'm better at. So I just think that's a thing that's just, a truth about life.
I think what I can take from it, Keith, is try to be mindful of my wording. But I have to be honest with everybody, because that's what they're here for. They're not here for, like, let's be honest, Keith. And I hope you appreciate this. Like, we don't bring bullshit. Like, we're not trying to fluff anything up. We're not trying to sell anything that isn't real. We're giving you our most accurate, honest, objective opinions. So this way, anyone who's viewing, and like we had this in, Keith, I know you jumped in early to the hangout yesterday and you had to jump out, but we had a bunch of people talking about how what they appreciate is they're so busy during the week, they can't keep up with Michigan football. But because of our show, they're up to date. And that's our goal, right? We want to be able to give them the most accurate, on point information in an hour time frame. So this way they're up to date and then they can go about their daily lives, right? That's a goal of ours for the channel. So I hear you. I guess what I can do is just try to be mindful in how I say it. Because listen, I did say, I have said, like, I've been a little harsh on Tuttle, I'll say that. But listen, if he gets the damn job though, listen, I support him and I want him to do well. And if I'm wrong, that's fine, man. Like, I don't need to be right. What I need is Michigan to win. It doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong about anything, That's all that matters at the end of the day is Michigan winning.
Well, that's what we all want. And Tuttle's a special case, but a lot of these other players are our reloads, is that when we're projected now. I just saw a draft today where we have 4 going in the first round, both our DTs, Johnson and Loveland. are all projected to go in the first mock draft that I've seen this year for 25. And we're going to have to reload those guys, So we got to support all the players on our team, and build them up as much as we can.
Yeah, I agree. But there does come a reality, Keith, where like this isn't everyone wins a trophy and you got to win the job. And that's something these kids all face. I mean, these kids have like a lot of these kids, they're the man back home or on their team, and then they come to Michigan or they come to a power program, and then they're another guy. They're just another player. And some guys, and that's what you get. Cream rises to the top, and the top players will. And then the kids who don't, they either transfer or they go there for 4 or 5 years and they get their degree or their graduate. And that's just the path, man. I think the reality is, Keith, like we just got to be honest, but also not be disrespectful. And I think I can definitely walk that path. I will do better walking that path.
The reality is there's 11 players on the field at a time on either side of the ball. And there's just, and there's 70, 80 something guys on a college roster. There's just not enough room sometimes. And
there's not. And somebody's got to be at the bottom of each room too.
Yeah.
And it's good to be honest and put them there. It's just, we've got to try to do it in positive light as we can, I think. But okay, we'll let it go with that. But
I appreciate it, Keith.
Okay, so just advice from a friend, and you're doing a great job with the show. TJ, wait till the season starts and you start having this show. Watch your numbers. I can tell you that they're going to be some of the best in the business. I betcha.
We appreciate that, man, and that's kind of what we're talking behind the scenes, because like lately, Keith, and I'm sure you've been a long time viewer, and we appreciate you, man. Like honestly, thank you for calling in. You do call in. You're a great contributor to the show, not only as a member but as a caller. Our numbers are booming right now. Like we're setting new records for we're getting like 30, 40 subscribers a day right now, so it's going really well.
What?
And then when the season starts,
many?
Dude, we're booming, bro.
I didn't know
like this channel. Yeah, like for example, we had that graphic up. Yeah. And we were at like 970. I think we at 920 now, and that was just 2 days ago, man. So
no, I think the last live stream I had watched was the crossing 7,000 one. Before yesterday, I watched last night.
I got a bone 40 subscribers in 2 days.
I got a bone to pick with John.
John. I don't even know.
I'm watching along. I'm commenting and stuff last night, and then John stops and he's like, "We got somebody. We got to shout out here right quick." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get a little shout out," and it was Maze Madman.
Hey, dude,
I see where I sit here. That's okay. It's good to know your place. It's all right. I get it. And Maze Madman, I love Maze Madman too. He's a great guy. He's a really
I want to get on another topic. Did you guys see the Tony Alford interview? Tony Alford, it was on an interview. Did you guys catch that one?
I didn't get to see that one yet, actually. Was there anything
Ferris sent it to me. I didn't watch it though. It's with one of his friends I saw, right?
No, it was just him answering questions to the press.
Oh, okay. He actually did another one today. If anyone wants to watch it, Tony Alford did an interview that's on YouTube. It got released today with a friend of his. You're talking about the one where he says he's the happiest he's been in a long time. That one?
That's right. That's the one I saw.
Oh yeah, I read the quotes from that one. That's right.
He said something very revealing in that thing. He said in 2 or 3 different ways, he made 2 points that this Michigan running backs room is tough, for one, and the second one was they play hard. Now, what you notice what he didn't say tougher and play harder. So he's inadvertently or maybe consciously, maybe subconsciously, but he's saying where I came from, they didn't play hard and they weren't tough. And I have a strong feeling we're going to handle Ohio State like we did for the last 3 years. I think they haven't learned their lesson that a tough football player is better than a soft football player.
Samaj Morgan agrees with you, by the way. Roman Wilson agrees with you. Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, I'll say this. I think they're going to be ready for the game. But but listen, Michigan's going to be ready for the game. You know what I mean? So I agree with you, Keith. Like, I think I feel good about there's not a game this year on the schedule, Ohio State included, where I'm like, shit. Like, I feel good going into it, I'm not saying we're going to go undefeated. It's very obviously very rare. We were able to do it. Hell of a year last year. But, like the Texas game, you guys know my thoughts on that. I just broke it down. USC, I was on USC show with their guys. They write for USC, USA Today on Trojan Wire. Shout out to Tom and Matt Zemek, or Tim Pranglin, my bad. Tim Pranglin and Matt Zemek. And then Oregon's another team I think we all respect. And then Ohio State. And Washington, I don't think I don't think we're that. I don't know how you feel, Darren, about Washington, but I mean, I'm not very fearful of Washington right now. But I agree. I think the boys will come to play, and I think but I do think Ohio State, they know, man. Like they know, like they're aware. Like they're not. I think they're going to come to fight, but will they win the fight? I mean, if I had to put money on it, I'd say no.
Ohio State, best damn 7-on-7 program in the land.
Hey, man, those matter in the summer.
Yeah, that South Florida Express pipeline is really killing us lately.
Yeah.
I thought of an interesting topic that you could do with your show or something. Like you were saying, let's say Big Ten teams were branches of the military. Okay. And
I like it. Okay.
Yeah, and let's say Michigan, because we concentrate on tough and grit and punishing, we're the Marines. All right.
Right. Sounds right.
Ohio State, because they think of finesse quarterbacks, wide receivers, that they're the Air Force. And if the Air Force ever played the Marines in football, what do you think the result would be?
Well, Air Force has a football team. So unfortunately, we won't be able to find out.
Navy. Also,
Marines,
my man, you missed a perfect opportunity to call Ohio State the Coast Guard there.
Facts.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith, are you disrespecting our military? I'm just kidding, dude. I'm just kidding. But anyways, let's give a shout out to Cody for this. Hold on, Keith. Let me give a shout out to Cody for the $5 super chat. A big reason why I watch it is because you guys keep it real, no bullshit, just upfront, honest. That's what we need. Can't sugarcoat big time college football. Go blue, Cody. We appreciate you, man. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for giving us a super chat. And listen, we actually had this talk today, me, John, and Ferris, and because we were talking about guests and like we were talking about potential guests in the future, and then we kind of made it an agreement upon us where we're not going to sell out so we can get certain guests. We're not going to change our approach so that we can get in to certain areas. We're going to keep bringing what we're bringing, and the guests that we're going to get, which we are planning to get some more people like Darren Talks Ball, my man Darren Talks Ball. And by the way, let me just say this too. Maze Madman will be joining me on a call-in show in about 2 weeks. Next week, we're going to have Dennis Fithy in from the Rivals channel. He's going to be joining me on the call-in show. We got Maze Madman in 2 weeks. So we got a lineup coming.
Off over here.
Oh, bro, we got an interview coming next week with a Michigan booster. That's going to be dropping.
You guys got some big guests here. I feel like I'm just like the appetizer to the main course.
Bro, you're VIP, baby. You're VIP, bro. Yeah, no, we got things booming. I got another booster I'm working on, I'm going to be discussing coming on, who's a major booster. So we're trying to bring you guys the best that we can possibly get you, and there's more to come. As I told you, and as I've told everybody watching for weeks, we're climbing a mountain. And every single one of you, from members to moderators to viewers, to you just liking the video, sharing it, subscribing to it, are a part of this journey, and we appreciate it. So thank you, Cody, for your super chat. What else you got for us, Keith?
Steve Deace was talking today, I think it was actually a couple days ago, but I saw Steve Deace, and he is projecting. Now, this is him. I don't know how inside this is. It's just him.
Okay.
But he was saying that the season, he projects the season start out where Jack Tuttle and Orgy share the quarterback duties, with Orgy eventually taking it all over. So that's a possible scenario too.
At what my problem with that is, at what point does you said Orgy take over?
Yeah, Orgy. That's what Steve Deace is saying. Yeah.
Because the problem is, if you're playing like last year's schedule with that, let's be honest, relatively weak out of conference. It was even weak getting into the Big Ten. Let's be honest. But we played like Nebraska and like Purdue and them in the early weeks of the Big Ten schedule, I'd be all for it. But that Texas game looms large week 2. And like we were just saying a few minutes ago, I really think that you have to have that figured out going into that game. People don't realize how much like I said, people don't realize how much it potentially throws you off switching quarterbacks mid-game and how difficult it is, the logistics of it and stuff, the style of quarterback, even the cadence they call the snap with and stuff is different. Yeah, I got to be honest with you, my man. I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
I'll do respect to Steve Deace. I watch his content too. I respect him as a content
the thing about Deace though, and like obviously Deace is a very knowledgeable and he's an articulate guy, right? But for me, he's a bit pessimistic a lot. And I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with how he was before Michigan won its first game against Ohio State. But even so, like he's very he changes with the wind sometimes, like emotionally. Yeah. So I mean, look, he's an articulate guy. He knows his ball, and I think many of us have watched his show. He has a pretty damn good show. But he was the
head of the Fire Harbaugh Club. Yes. So.
I mean, I'm not going to give him shit on that because I too was in that club.
I was a VIP member of that club.
Yeah,
that's one. I don't get VIP status at many places, but in that club, I feel like I was.
Yeah, I'll own that. I think a lot of us were in that club, and that's okay. And good for Harbaugh for proving us wrong. Again, I enjoy being wrong as long as we're winning. If we're losing and I'm wrong, then I'm gonna be more unhappy about it. But all right, let's give a shout out to Justin. Welcome, Darren Talks Ball to the Michigan fans.
Obviously, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, bro, they're loving you, bro. Freaking yeah, again, anyone who wants to get some good Big Ten topics, he hits on Michigan, he hits on all teams in the Big Ten. Certified ball knower, as you could tell. My man can talk ball, so we appreciate it. All right, last question, Keith, and we gotta get to our next caller. So what do you got for us?
That's it, guys, for tonight. But yeah, it's always good to talk to you and keep up the good work.
Appreciate it, man. And thank you for being a part of the journey, bro. And let's watch it grow, Keith. Let's watch it grow, all right?
Yeah, go blue.
Go blue, my friend.
Go blue.
All right, man. Damn, I got taught. I was being taught some lessons there, man. I gotta be a little more respectful to Tuttle.
I guess so. Before we get to the next caller, can I just say one thing real quick? John,
hold on, Moose.
I was just busting your balls on that one. I was just having some fun on that. You're all good, man. Anyway.
Sorry. Yeah, it's all good. He knows, dude. John's good. All right,
I'm sure
bring
he does.
On my man B-Dub. Fucking always coming through. What's up, my guy? What you sipping on, dude?
What are you
sipping on, my guy?
Hey, I'm champions, man. Crown and some Pepsi.
Crown and Pepsi. Okay.
On a Thursday night. There you go.
I'll be honest, it was a rough day, man. It was a rough day, dude.
Hey, any night can be a drinking night, man.
Whenever you get, I'm installing showers. Whenever you get rained on by the shower head, it's not a good day. It's not a good day. You don't want to get rained on. I want to say smash, right? Smash, let's go.
Hey, smash, bro. Get it.
Yesterday was awesome, man. Yesterday was awesome. Just shooting the crap with everybody, shooting the shit with everybody.
It was legit, dude. It literally got to a point where we had to be like, we have to get out of here or we're not leaving.
Yeah, it was crazy because people had questions. We kept going and going because we get on some topics where we were talking the Lions and all types of stuff, man, on there. Michigan fandom and everything. So
for those who don't know, and I spoke about it, our member hangout was yesterday. We had about I don't know how many people you think were in there. 12. We had a good amount at one time. Just talking ball, man. It was a good time. So and obviously B-Dub, Bull for the win. He was there. So yeah, it was legit.
Yeah. Man. It was awesome. Yeah, Ferris was wearing my hat. It's not my hat. It's not my hat, bro. Let's just go. It's not my hat, but it's an awesome hat. I'll tell you that much.
Hell yeah. So what's up, my guy? What do you got for us?
Yeah, no. As I was mulling it over from listening to Sam Webb and EJ, I think we touched a little bit on it yesterday. I don't know. I guess for recruiting wise, I am impressed with Lou, and I am not as impressed with Lamar. So, I just was because I'm like Lou. Everyone got late on the scene, right? I totally understand that, but Lou, I don't. Maybe because I don't understand that. I don't think it's easier, but maybe because he's D-line, maybe it's a little bit easier for him, right? But then you look at Lamar, it's like, man, bro, like Lou is killing it out here, man, with some decent guys that there's not too many fights with. Yeah, there's some fights, but like it seemed like Lou got in there, dug deep, and like is trying to get these guys.
Bro, there was serious fights. Look at Auburn and Nate Marshall right now. And then look, he just pulled Julius. We're getting crystal ball Julius Holly. He's about to commit on the 29th. I got a video to make in 2 days.
Julius. I just saw the Julius Holly. Yeah, no, I mean, I see that. I see that. I just
now.
I'm just not as impressed with Lamar in the sense like it's a small net and
all right, Dan,
and we may not get a lot. That's all.
I do have to say one thing in Lamar's defense. He did get the highest rated recruit that we currently have, and a guy I'm really excited about. Yeah, and we're also in on Jadon Blair because of him.
Yeah, he's going.
There's still work to be done. Yeah, I heard there. Well, Sam Webb earlier today on the WTK roundtable said that it's still a Notre Dame lean. But he still thinks Michigan's in play. That's what Sam Webb said.
We'll hope for
it. Yeah. But just to defend Lamar real quick, I do think that the one guy that it looks like I'm looking at the recruiting ranking thing right now, looks like that's kind of like the one guy he's gotten is a big catch. Big catch. That's a big fish.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's amazing. Dude, his cousin went to Penn State, bro.
Yeah.
He's from the DC area. So like, I mean, that was a major victory, man.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, look, here's where we are. Bull, we got to just give Lamar a little more time to see if he can get some guys. Like Carson Lawrence is probably the safety. So if we lose out on Jadon Blair, which that's looking like that's trending in Notre Dame, Carson Lawrence will commit out of Vander. Is your TV on, my guy? Can you turn that down?
Oh, is that my TV?
That's your TV, boss. All right. So yeah, so Carson Lawrence committed to Vanderbilt. That's probably who they're going to pivot to in that direction. Well, he's a 4-star. He's actually a good player. I actually wish they were trying to close him right now because I like Carson Lawrence. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see. It's June. Like there's time. Let's see if he can land some stuff. But I agree. But you know who else? I mean, Brian Jean-Marie, man. I mean, he got what's his face? Chase Taylor, who was
Chase Taylor.
Chase Taylor. Did you guys see those recent quotes by I think it was Sam Webb who said the staff looks at him like he's like a big time player, man. They think he's like they could put him all over the field. And if anyone watched my breakdown, I mean you can see that in his film. Like the kid's obviously talented. But I mean, I agree. I mean, here I'll pull this up right now for everybody. So this is our clash right now.
Well, I think the Chase Taylor is okay. I mean, I obviously Moose is hard in the paint. I see Moose all over Twitter, bro. He's hard in the paint.
Yeah, Moose is getting a little salty with me, bro.
I saw
Moose was getting salty with me today, bro.
I comment. It's because Moose, you got too much going on, bro. You got too much going on. You're on Twitter too much. You need to watch the show a little more, man. Pay attention. It's all good.
It's all good, man.
Because I see the locks. I saw the locks. I was like, that's right.
Yeah, well, I think what we're going to do going forward, bro, because, like, just for transparency, I'm just going to make a graphic and we'll show it every week. Or something. Like, whenever the new one added or whatever, we'll put it. Like, we'll
exactly. That's all you got to do. Just to appease Moose.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But, I mean, if you look at this depth chart, man, I mean, obviously the back end, right? Where's our corners? Where's our safeties? That's Lamar Morgan.
I know. My thing is this. I understand. My thing is I feel like Lou got in there, dug deep, got a lot of candidates, right? Because sort of cast a bigger net. That there was some fight on, but not too much until probably a little bit midway late, which is fine. But I felt like Lamar casted a smaller net on some guys, and that's fine if he's just trying to get in it. I guess try starting something. I just felt like. I'm listening to EJ and Sam, and it's like if we don't get some of these guys, like it's looking like one safety, one corner. I mean, that to me is like, man, that sucks. Like I don't want just one safety, one corner. I want at least two corners. Give me at least two. But like all the corners and safeties we're looking at, they're just high. They got big names, and they're leaning sometimes in those. In that, like you said, we got two that are in Notre Dame territory. Right, safeties, I believe. Right,
Ivan Taylor and
Ivan Taylor,
Jordan,
but then a quarter, and then the cornerback of Young and a couple others, I believe. Right, Shamari
Yeah, and then
Earls,
Shamari
right? That's
Earls
another one.
trending
Shamari
Georgia.
Earls,
Trending
yeah.
Georgia.
Correct.
It's not
right.
looking
So
good.
it's like,
Yeah.
I know. I don't
I'm saying small net against high competition. It's like, damn, man. Like,
Well, here, I'll give you
You
one,
know,
bro. You
that's
want a
all.
name to watch right now?
yes, please.
The name to watch right now is Alex Graham, committed to Colorado. He actually visited 2 weeks ago. He's a safety, potentially a DB, potentially corner,
I saw
but
that
likely
guy.
safety. Another safety, which I mentioned, was Carson Lawrence, and then that's kind of where I'm at on our top targets right now. I mean, obviously, there's gonna be some kids visiting in the next few weeks, but yeah, I mean, look, I don't know, man. Well, I'll say this too: a big, and this is where like our NIL is improved, but when it comes to cornerbacks, man, like these kids are getting serious money, and so are the wide receivers, right? And we're about to obviously land Andrew Marsh, likely, highly likely. He's a lock for me. And that kid's a top 50 player, big time player, and he's not coming for free, like obviously. But I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know yet with the like. I'm still in observation mode. Like maybe you can pull something, get a kid to flip. I do have some information on what Sharon Moore is doing for NIL right now in terms of fundraising. I know his goal by December, which we're going to talk about on Tuesday's show. So I'm going to give you guys a teaser. Check into Tuesday's show. There will obviously be some recruiting news with Julius Holly committing. And we're going to also talk about what is the NIL strategy for fundraising this summer, as well as what is the goal for the class. I got that intel. So we'll dig in deep into that on Tuesday. I'll just say this too, though. Like, if anyone's like looking at Michigan's recruiting and they're like, "Damn, like it's still not good enough." Like, obviously, I think we would all agree it's better, right? Like, it's definitely better than it was, right?
Yeah, unlike what Ferris did not point out in his video, which I'm talking to you, Ferris. You got to explain the floor, man. The floor has been raised, right? We're raising it up. You can see the average player from the last couple of years has gone up just a little bit. Like we're now trying to crack more top 100 guys, right? Which at the end of the day, I obviously Michigan has been doing a good job of doing with less, right? And that's fine, but it's just about finding that right kid that's just that a little bit better athlete, man, a little bit higher in the ranking. Take it for what you will. Or not even that, just the type of player that you want. I think we get caught up in the stars and the average, right? Like for example, Chase Taylor.
Very
Some
much
people
so.
like Chase Taylor, and I'm like, I'm about Chase Taylor.
Dude,
but if people are like, you know what, this kid's got top speed at like a linebacker like position, then they're like, oh snap, I didn't think about it. They're like, yes, no crap, he has to put on 20, 30 pounds. Totally understand that. But they see him as that guy who just hits it, hits the hole. Pause.
Right. Well, all right. So, all right, let me give a shout out to Justin because I had this up for a minute. So, Darren, he's asking you, man, do you think Connor Stalions was recruiting defense line coach last year?
Well, if he was, it's the best thing he's ever done for Michigan football. I'll say that. And it still doesn't redeem all the other stupid shit he did. I'm not a big Connor Stalions guy, to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and defend him.
Guy, huh?
Why would I want to give that guy 2 seconds of my time? Anyone who takes the time to write a football manifesto.
I was about to say, you don't respect the manifesto?
I don't respect the manifesto. I don't respect manifestos.
Legend, dude.
Everyone thinks that manifestos are like these exciting things. They're not. They're always the most boring thing you'll ever read. Trust me, I'm a history nerd.
Could be.
They're just
how do we know
boring.
it's not the best one ever written?
Anyway,
it might be.
Hey, to some people at certain mental institutions, they're probably very exciting reads, but not here. There's some people that live in fantasy land of the same stuff that Connor Stalions delusion. Probably think that's really cool stuff. Not me. I like to live in reality. Anyway. If he was that, hey, good for him. I was at that game actually, and it was really funny seeing the news break of it and stuff like that. I was like, damn, man, how did I not notice the weird guy running around with like a fake goatee on the sidelines? I was at the MSU CMU game. Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that book should be closing soon. There should be a notice of allegation sometimes in the near future. We'll see. There's some speculation, and it got confirmed again like 2 days ago that I'll just share it. It's not my, like, this is from Isaiah Hole, and he went a little deeper on it. This isn't from any of my intel or anything of that nature, but basically saying his contacts are telling him it's going to be at a level 2 level, the punishment, but he doesn't know what that entails. He doesn't know what that means, recruiting violations. He doesn't know what the punishment's going to be. Now we'll see.
Level 2 is pretty light though, usually, right? That's
Dude,
like
in the NIL
money, like scholarships, things like that. I feel like that's usually level 2 stuff.
Exactly. So in the NIL era, level 2 is nothing, because you can just, so what, you lose 10 scholarships or 5 or 3 a year, or 4, like whatever. We'll just give you NIL. It'll cover it. No one gives a shit. So in today's era, it means nothing. The only thing that it could suck is if they restrict our recruiting weekends. That could suck, but we'll see. They'll make it work, dude.
Yeah, leave it to Ohio State journalists with humanities degrees to not recognize what a hammer really is.
Yeah, well, they're gonna find out what a hammer is on our show when that shit drops, because we got a little hammer waiting for them. But anyways, shout out to Justin. Thank you, Justin. You've been a very strong supporter, contributor to the show. We appreciate you. Drufus, my guy. Love the depth chart. Go blue. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, that shit's not going anywhere. We will have that. That will be around, and we'll see what else we create with some depth charts, because we are pro Excel in this on this.
I was gonna say, as a nerd, I appreciate a good Excel spreadsheet.
I love Excel, dude. You should see.
I do. I do.
I have so many Excel sheets.
Yeah, I personally use it for my job, for what I do for class and stuff. So yeah, no, I use it all the time. Nice. I like the calculations. I'm learning that stuff, right? It
the formulas.
Yeah,
formulas. Yeah.
Which
that's where it's at.
I get, but it's awesome. I love it for sure. But it's just the whole secondary just has been bumming me out a bit. That's all. But I understand
it's early.
It's
not over
now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about that. I mean,
and it's not necessarily a bad.
It's not over, bro.
It's not necessarily a bad.
It's not like it's over, but we are getting the early signing period in December. So I understand we do have the whole fall. We actually have the whole season.
It's still June
to get some of the late commits, which usually those are like the high priority star guys. Sometimes we're like,
but remember this too, man. Listen. All right, let me give you maybe some. I don't want to say reassurance, but maybe some, like, a breath of, all right, it's okay. The season's going to play out. Coaches are going to get fired. Teams are going to play poorly. Okay. And then kids are going to be like, oh shit, I need to go to a winner. And that happened to us 3 years ago when we got Derek Moore and Darius Clemens. He was committed. He was going to be committing to, I think, Auburn. We pulled him from them. We got Derek Moore from Oklahoma because Oklahoma fired their coach. These things happen, man. There's so much time. It's not time to draw conclusions on anybody yet.
Yeah.
We have to remain in observation mode and then just keep observing and seeing, like, what moves they're making. Because I'm going to tell you, as dissatisfied as you are, they're not satisfied, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I agree. Oh no, so that's what I was going to comment on. I think one of the biggest things that have that has, I think, skyrocketed Michigan overall as NIL, dude, is Dusty May, dude. That guy, bro, this guy comes in, man, and just is like, bro, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And you're like, okay, and then he's doing it. You're like, oh, snap! Like it's coming. And Sean Moore's like, let's do it. You know, like it's like he just jumps on board, like, let Dusty May train, man, coming in.
You saw his recent comments about being the best NIL in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I did, man. I watched the interview, man.
It's so refreshing to see him so public about it and not shy away from it, understand it, but also, like, own it. You know, like, he's all in, like, I don't know, like, for anyone who's a new viewer or anyone who doesn't know, but he has an NIL meeting every day for 30 minutes. Every single day he has an NIL meeting with his collective guys, and he makes sure he's on top of it. He is fundraising. So 2 months ago, or was it, let's see, in April, he landed a major donor in the millions. So yeah, he's doing big work, man. Like, shout out to Dusty May. I thought it was because, like, all right, if you think about this, right? All right, you want to be the number 1 Big Ten NIL school, right? You got Oregon, you got Ohio State, and we would have thought, I don't know. I mean, I used to think USC had a strong NIL, but they're having a lot of trouble right now.
They just lost that safety today. I felt bad. I was like, dang, dude,
they're having some serious trouble with NIL right now. They're apparently, from my understanding, they're in like the $6 to $12 million range, and they're having trouble, like, getting it going. So
Yeah, I
we'll,
think it's
I
harder
don't
for
know.
the more public universities, and not most of them, I would say, are public, yes. But when you're out there, you're West Coast,
Yeah, but
and yeah,
USC
it's different
has
than when you're
always
in the
played
SEC.
that game though. USC has always been played that game like Reggie Bush. I mean, this goes back, son. Like this is like this goes
That
back even
is,
before
you
then.
know, you are right about that. That is true.
Dude,
Especially, Lincoln Riley pulling the wide receiver out of Pitt. That is
yeah.
true.
Let me give a shout out to Justin again, my friend Justin. Thank you for the $2 super chat. We find superstars outside the 150. It's true. Mike Sandersill,
That's a
what's
good
up?
point too.
David,
Yeah.
David Ojabo, what's up? We can name even more. I mean, like Chris Jenkins, freaking Hassan Haskins. I think Blake Corum might have been outside 150.
Yeah.
He might have been
I
within it
think
though.
the biggest thing, for us though, and I think it's a sneaky thing, is because of Ohio State. That's a whole different discussion. Honestly, I do want to talk about is the Michigan high school football program. I don't know what's going on there, but whatever. It bums me out a bit because you look at Ohio State football and just the renaissance of like getting these top talent people, these kids in their state. It really bothers me, but no, I think that's part of it is getting the Ohio kids right that are lower on Ohio State's radar and going in and just sniping them right. Like that's part of it is the rivalry and what that breeds amongst it. It's iron sharpens iron, right? So it's just we get some of those lower kids that have a grudge or a chip, and it usually pays off for us.
Well, we also get some of
Yeah.
those lower kids that may have a grudge or a chip on their shoulder because they didn't get noticed right away or whatever. But sometimes it's just kids that that they know that they're good and they just didn't get a certain rating because I think a lot of people have ideas as to how recruiting evaluations work, and it's not necessarily always true. I was watching EJ Holland's stream the other day, and he even admitted to this a little bit. The guys that do like recruiting analysis aren't traveling as much as they used to, so a lot of the kids are only getting really like quality evaluations if they go to all the camps at all the universities. Like a guy like Colston Loveland is a perfect example of this. Guy that didn't necessarily go to a ton of camps. Guy that came out of the state of Idaho, not necessarily known for being a hotbed for anything outside of potatoes and nature, and if you were to go back and evaluate him, what is he? He's probably a 5-star, probably the number 1 tight end in the class that he came in, unless he came in the same class as Brock Bowers, but I doubt that. It was only a couple of years ago. So and these things happen. Kids go under the radar, and that's why you have to have that's honestly the thing that I was most excited about. Speaking on Michigan improving their recruiting program, I was just as excited about the fact that they've hired more people. They've just surely got more people on staff and more support staff watching that film, digging into, finding different places, because a 5-star sometimes is just a 5-star because he goes to IMG Academy, and it's from the time that he's in like 8th or 9th grade, he's got this high rating, and goes to a big school, goes to a lot of camps, and then by the time he's like a senior in high school, and this happens a lot, he's peaking. And he's never going to be that much better than what he is at the time. But because he had that evaluation early on, the analysts stick with it. They have a big offer list by that point. And then, they go to college and they become a pretty good player. We see it all the time. We see it time and time again. It's far, far, far from an exact science with recruiting.
No, and I think adding to what you're saying with the increasing the department now, we actually talked about this just a little bit yesterday in the meeting between me and TJ, which it clicked in my mind because Zach Smith talked about it on his his show he has. He talked about it like the GA's coaching, right? They can now coach, but what that really does, because they have the ability to coach, only coaches can go on visits and recruit.
Yeah, I don't know if that's changed though. I don't know if that changed. All I know is that those analysts can now be on the field. I don't know if they're allowed to then visit. I don't know. I think there might still be I'll have to verify that or confirm that this weekend. Maybe
I'd like to verify, confirm that because that's what he's saying. He's like, if they're able to coach.
Oh wait, so you're saying
kids, they are.
Oh, you're saying Zach Smith said that they can go on visits. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, that they can now pretty much have their own recruiting. Like they can have a total of 40 GAs.
That'd be nuts.
Go out and recruit.
That'd be nuts.
Because they're able to coach. And only coaches can go and visit kids and communicate with them, per se. Now you can just have a whole nother division now of like 40 people separate completely for just recruiting because
Yeah, the sky's
can
really the limit.
coach.
It's yeah.
It's a loophole that I would confirm.
Mhm.
Probably confirm that. But that's what he's saying is because of the coaching aspect. Well, that then plays into now recruiting now because coaches can only go out and see recruits and things like that. So
Yeah. All right, let me give another shout out to Justin. Loveland was outside the top 150 as a superstar. 100% agree with you, Justin. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Again, you are the man. We appreciate you, man. You come through, bro. And you also came through again. My man Justin coming with the heat. It's great how now that analysts can help coach. McPhee is going to help our edge rushers. And for those who don't know, McPhee is a defensive a former Baltimore Raven, a former NFL player who is now he's on the staff. I think he's actually a GA. I think he might be a GA. He might not just be an analyst. I have to confirm that. I have to make now that this rule is passed. I got to make a list to my Excel sheet and add all the analysts and GAs to it now because they now matter. But yeah, no, this is a major get from technically like we have former NFL players as our analysts, and these guys can now technically be on the field coaching these kids, getting them better. This is a win. This rule change is a win for Michigan because we have a budget that could do anything. Like our athletic budget is $215 million in revenue a year. Like we are one of, I think, 4 schools or 5 schools that make over $200 million a year in athletic revenue. So like Michigan can literally really take advantage of this rule change, and it will only help Michigan because you already know with like a Wink Martindale as your defensive coordinator, and you have all these other guys we brought for like McPhee. We are and they saw it with Jesse Minter and Mike McDonald, right? You see this promotion from our scheme in college to the NFL. We are a landing spot or a hotbed for up and coming coaching. So like this is only going to be a victory. And plus, do not discount this. Jim Harbaugh will send guys here. While he's in the NFL, right? But he'll say, "Hey, Michigan's an opportunity for you to take that next step, just like John did." So listen,
feel like he owes us. Feel like he owes us about 5 guys.
I mean, he got us a natty though. He got us a natty. So, but I mean, I'm starting to feel like maybe he could like throw us, a coach or two, or
throw us a few bones. Like, hey, at least once a year.
Yeah, those was what, like 8 of them.
Yeah, I'll take like.
He took a lot of people.
He got us a natty, but hey,
yeah,
my man here, Darren Talks Ball is a great channel. Very happy to see him moving up.
Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, Brett.
Darren,
appreciate it.
Darren knows fucking ball, bro. But all right, Bull, we got one more call. What's your last pointer or question, and we'll get to the next caller.
No, I just want to finish with I think on Darren here on his point of finding those those players that don't get a lot of exposure. I think with this potential new rule, with that possible loophole, we could expand it even more recruiting department to where we find even more of these players. Now, maybe people won't like it when they see the composite or whatever, what our overall team is ranked every year or whatever. But hey, if the results show it shows, and I think our recruiting definitely is up there. I think Sharon is definitely trying to, especially from the interview he gave with Joe Klatt and everything. I think it's huge. I think I like what he's doing. I definitely don't like the Coach Prime approach. I watched that interview. Didn't really care for that approach to things. I feel a certain way towards him. But
that'll be interesting to watch this year how Colorado does with his approach to things and how he's kind of talking to players, and it could be a tire fire, bro. To be real with you,
remember when people were seriously picking them to beat Oregon last year? That was a fun time.
Oh man,
bro, they thought they made it. They thought they made it last year, man. They were so hyped.
Poor Joel Klatt. Bro. Joel Klatt hopped right on that Colorado hype train before it took off on the station. That's his alma mater, man. That's his alma mater.
It was rough, dude. And then they got mollywopped, man. And what I see, I think he will go pro. I think he will go to the pros prime there because his coaching, his style and everything, I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring professionals to college. But we all know sometimes that stuff doesn't work because it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing. It's getting coached hard. And college kids are like, now they're starting to, what do I want to say? They're becoming more, I guess, more pussies. There you go. I was trying to come up with a nicer word. But
I mean,
some of them are prima donnas.
You accurately described the point you were trying to make. So
yeah,
I mean, look, listen, there's a bucket. Listen, there's a bucket of kids that fall in that, and then there's a bucket of kids who are about it. Like, but see, that's the value. Is like as a culture like Michigan, like, we find the kids who are not pussies, bro. Like we are after the kids who are all ball, and don't need to be highest paid or diva or like. I mean, look, if you see some of these TikToks or these videos of some of these kids at these other schools, our kids aren't doing that, bro. Like they're not.
Oh, yeah.
They're not doing that like extra bullshit, like. I mean, don't be wrong. Like, obviously they're kids. They play around. But like, if you see some of these videos of some of these other kids, like you're like, all right, well, I'm glad that's not in the locker room, bro. You know what I mean? Like they're acting a little
exactly,
a little funky.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's why I don't see it working out there with Coach Prime and this whole 40 transfers a year in and out kind of thing.
Yeah,
you don't build a culture like that. Like I don't understand what he's trying to do. He's thinking, why take? Because sometimes the younger the kids are, the more malleable you can create and get your culture across to these kids. I think that's what Michigan is doing. I think that's what we're doing. That's what we're obviously accomplishing. I am overall. This is obviously a very challenging season for a new head coach. Especially with Texas and USC. And, then Oregon to really showcase if we're going to make it or not. And I hope it comes together, hope it holds together, hope the culture stays, hope everyone's on board, and willing to fight for everything. And I hope it works out. I really do, because I just love kicking Ohio State's ass, man. I love it, dude. I love it.
I mean, all things are trending up. I think things are really trending up for Michigan football. I don't know if I would have said that a few months ago when a lot of stuff was kind of in, hanging in the balance there. But the moves that they've kind of made since Sharon Moore has been announced, I'm really excited about. It also, very much turns out that the Gucci luggage for Prime turned out to be the knockoff.
I'm bringing Louis, bro.
On the side of the
bringing
street.
Louis.
Yeah, Louis, whatever you. I don't care. I'm solidly a member of the proletariat.
It's funny when you say that.
Brands,
I know, right? You say that, and then you just cut to him after the Oregon game, like, no, it's not Louis. It's not Louis. I don't know what I brought on the D line or O line, but it wasn't Louis.
You got that stuff for $5 hanging on the shelves at Walmart. That's what you got.
Yeah. Well, all right, Bull. We appreciate you calling in, man. I'm sure we'll hear from you. Thanks for joining us yesterday in the members hangout, and then obviously, just thanks for contributing, bro. It's much appreciated.
No problem, man. No problem. Go blue,
buddy.
smash.
Yeah, go blue, man. Appreciate it.
Let's give a shout out to Justin again. Justin's fucking pulling through, bro. We appreciate it. We really do. It helps the channel. We got goals for the channel, and you're helping us climb that mountain even quicker, my friend. So I appreciate it. Now let's get Charles Woodson on the coaching staff. Then every cornerback would come to Michigan. I mean, it'd probably be a selling point, but I don't know if Charles Woodson wants to leave his comfy desk job, man. He seems pretty happy doing his Fox, his Fox like pre-show gig. But here's a good thing though. Hey, Charles Woodson, he comes a lot. He shows out. He meets with recruits. A lot of alumni do come back and give back. So I mean, that's good. Hey,
people underestimate the importance of having people like Charles Woodson out there, and other people in the media as like a face for the program too. Like Charles Woodson's everywhere, man.
Yeah, no, he is, man, and like it's great. Like, I think, dude, Michigan has important people everywhere. Really, I mean, look at now we got Tom Brady about to be the highest paid announcer in all of sports, I think. So. And he gives back too. He gives back to NIL. He does. It's just good to see, man. We got a lot of Michigan's. I mean, Michigan's just a freaking healthy ass university, bro. From not only on field, off field, alumni, all that. But my man Ralph says, talk about Avery Gash winning Rivals 5-star camp, offensive line MVP. They said he's going to get a major bump. They should. Unfortunately, I wasn't doing my recruiting breakdowns, but maybe I should go back on some of the players who already committed because I wasn't doing them quite yet. But this is Avery Gash. He won MVP at the Rivals 5-star. Again, good evaluation by Michigan. This is a former Michigan State legacy major get, bro. And it's just, again, what do? You guys saw we added Caden Strayhorn, or another Michigan State legacy. I mean, look, we just get dogs and maulers, bro. It's just what.
Did
it
you
is.
hear
So,
about that stuff, by the way, with him, with Strayhorn, with Michigan State, where they were like, they just basically gave up after a while? I heard, like, they saw his offer list and were like, oh yeah, we're probably not going to get in on him. It's
John was kind of telling me. John was telling me.
Legacy kid in state. Yeah.
Yeah, John was telling me he saw something where they're kind of like backing out because they don't think they can compete. And it wasn't just the Avery Gash one either. I don't know. He said there was a source on it too. But.
It was Avery Gash and Strayhorn, which Strayhorn was wild because his dad is literally like the color analyst for their
right. Did you see?
Bro,
did you see what they're gonna? You see, they're gonna interview his dad on why he went to Michigan State or why he went to Michigan. Did you see this?
That's wild.
Bro,
I saw his dad refuse to wear a Michigan shirt in the commitment picture, which was funny.
Bro. Did anyone now? Unfortunately, the post got deleted. But did anyone? And you're not on Twitter, so you didn't even see it. But so, dude, Strayhorn posted this picture on Twitter that said, "My dad went to Michigan State." It was like a bubble, like a talking bubble, and he was talking like Samaj Morgan, right? And Samaj Morgan's like, "But they lost 49-0," and he's like, "Yeah, f that, go blue," or some shit. Like, I don't know, it was, like, it got deleted. It was only up for like an hour, but it was just like,
and he posted it. Caden Strayhorn posted it,
and then they deleted it. But dude, Strayhorn, bro, he's nasty, bro. If anyone watches my breakdown of him, you will see he's nasty. We are fans of Strayhorn, definitely Michigan approved.
He kind of trends to be a center too, eventually, right? So
he is a center. I got some flack for that. Like he could play. No, he's a center. He knows he's a center. Michigan's gonna slot him at center. He's a center. Listen, man, I'm not always right by any means, but like I also don't fuck around either.
And that's really good to have your center and your quarterback in the class already too. That's really good.
Yeah, my man Roy, my bad. I saw this comment earlier. I started. We're gonna get to it right now. TJ and Darren, is there any validity to Alabama having a shot with Andrew Olish? I heard some rumblings this morning. Listen, Alabama's coming hard, and this is what I kind of meant. I wanted to jump into this with Hardy Watts and Andrew Olish, so thank you, Roy, for reminding me. Alabama, this is what I was talking about, how we are at the point in recruiting where things are getting hot and hard, like almost had to say pause, bro. But things are getting hot and more difficult and challenging in the recruiting game because, one, spots are filling up. Teams are missing out on top targets. So the money that they had allocated for other players is now being allocated to new players. And not only that, the pressure is on to land elite talents because the elite talents are starting to get picked up by schools. So now I would say from now forward, official visit season is now over. You're going to see recruitments get a lot tighter. You're going to see things flip a lot easier. Now, listen, I say all that by saying this. I still feel good about Andrew Olish with Michigan. Alabama is trying to make a move right now. They are probably the team that we need to watch out for. It used to be Penn State. It's not Penn State. It's now Alabama. But Michigan is in a good position, and Andrew Olish plans to commit early July, first week of July, from my understanding. So we'll be on the lookout for it. Right now, I have Andrew Olish locked. I still feel good about it. We will keep tabs on it, and maybe I'll have an update for you guys next Tuesday. If not, this is a great opportunity to promote. Guys, I'm on Twitter, TJ_Ronan. I'm dropping little nuggets all the time. Our shows are Tuesday and Thursday. So in that time span, sometimes I can't, obviously things happen between then. So I'll drop some knowledge on there. Give me a follow. We're talking recruiting all the time. It's a good time. So that's where I'm at, TJ_Ronan. Get at me there. And then Hardy Watts, I'll mention this before we bring on our next caller, Cody. Thanks for waiting patiently, Cody. We appreciate it. Hardy Watts, Wisconsin is trying to make a move right now. I still feel good about Hardy Watts, but they are. So I'm just bringing that to everyone's attention. This is where we are now, where recruitments are starting to get down to the wire and teams are starting to get more desperate. So that's just where we are in the game.
Especially with those offensive linemen. There's only a few of them rated very highly in each class each year. Yeah.
And also this, if Michigan is targeting them, you better believe they're legit. So
yeah, it's at the point now where if Michigan likes an offensive lineman, I like them. Like if they're a 2-star, I don't care.
Yeah, their evaluations are not off by any means. So all right, let's bring up our boy Cody. Thank you, Cody, for waiting. What's up, my guy?
It's no problem. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I can't complain. I want to say thanks last night for the meeting we had. It was a lot of fun. And I recommend everybody gets involved in it somehow. So it's definitely a blast.
Yeah, definitely, man. You talking about the hangout yesterday?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So what's up, my man?
So my question for you is, with losing a lot of players on offense and defense, obviously, who are some guys you expect to break out this year?
Offensively and defensively, or how about let's
Yes,
just go
sir.
defense
Offense and
first.
defense.
TJ Guy is my guy. I think very high
Mhm.
TJ Guy. I think he's going to be a name to know. I think another name. I'll name another one. You name one, Darren. Zeke Berry. Be on the lookout for Zeke Berry defensively, and then also TJ Guy. Zeke Berry is going to play nickel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I expect them to be names that we are going to know this year. Do you have anyone on defense, Darren? We'll do offense next.
I've been praising this guy all off season so far. I even mentioned him in like my preview videos I've done so far in Michigan. Jair Hill, I think, really stands out to me. He's a guy that Sam Webb has been high on ever since he committed. There's several people. I know when he committed, he was like a 95 or 96 composite, kind of like your typical Michigan 4-star commit, by the way. Similar to a guy I'm about to get into in a minute here, too, because I think he's one you really got to watch out for. Michigan gets a ton of guys who are like 4-star, could be 5 stars, and Jair Hill was one of them. I really liked him in the spring game. He had that like shoestring tackle on Donovan Edwards that I thought was really great showing, because we know the kid can cover with how long, fast, and athletic he is, but his tackling looked great too, which was good. Because in this defense, you got to tackle. People talk about the scheme and everything that's been great with this defense over the last few years, but just purely being able to tackle in the open field and having 11 guys on the field at all times who can do that and not having a weak point in terms of that anywhere has been a huge key for us. Just go back and watch like Mikey Sanders-Still's film last year. Guy was an absolute beast tackling in the open field. And then the other guy I'll get into was Eno Etta, another guy that was like a 95 or 96 composite. And sometimes those guys fly under the radar because they're not 5 stars. They're only 4 stars. But that guy is kind of like and I'd be interested in getting TJ's evaluation of him here too, because I think he's I can just tell by the way you're talking so far in the stream, you're more breath for this stuff, or more up on this stuff. But Eno Etta seems to be kind of the next Chris Jenkins type and can play a little bit of inside outside. I know he's like 285 or 290 or something like that, but he's also fast, quick on his feet for his weight. So yeah. So I'm really excited about him. And there'll be space there too, because they're going to need to rotate. You know, there's a lot of guys that left that defensive line room from last season and entered the draft. Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant are going to need to take some breaks sometimes, because those are big dudes moving around all game long. And I'd look for Eno Etta to get in early and often. So those are my 2 on defense. At least.
All right, hold on. Let me read the super chat, and then I want to, and we'll get to the offense after we do the super chat. I want to talk to our guy Tim. So the super chat is Justin, $5 super chat again. Thank you, Justin. You are the man, bro. OSU was making a big deal that their defensive line player beat Gash once. Yeah, I saw the video.
Can I just interject real quick? Is this in reference to a Tony Gerdeman tweet? Because that's a Tony Gerdeman thing right there to do that.
Oh, I have no idea, dude. I think I'm aware of the tweet, the video that was popping. But like, look, as pointed out, they're not in pads, and it's not a game situation, right? We're talking about shorts and tank tops, you know, like it's not live. I mean, it's live, but it's not live. It's not like, you know, it's not all out. I mean, it is like they're obviously trying to look good, but they're not like suited up, bro. Like it's not.
That was very professional of you, by the way, to not take the bait on that and talk shit. Good work.
No, I'm not gonna talk. I mean, listen, we take our shots at Ohio State all the time.
I hear you.
All right, let me respond to my guy Tim. I think I don't know if he's delayed because we talked about it a while ago. So Tim Prangley, the host of the USC Trojan Show, the USC Trojan Show, Trojan Conquest, does Trojan Conquest live on the Voice of College Football USC channel. Also a writer for Trojan Wire for USA Today. Shout out to my guy here. He's asked me a few questions on clarity. He said, what about Bush? So correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but I think it's been largely agreed upon. And Darren, you let me know if I'm off base. Reggie received compensation to be a player, or he received money to play ball at USC. Is this not true? Is that not why the Heisman was yanked away? And I also think a lot of people in the college football world know that there was some financial, or it appears that financial exchanges were had during the Pete Carroll era. So that would be where I'd be with the Bush thing. Let me know if you disagree with that, Tim. And then clarification. Yeah, so he says something about NIL and Reggie Bush. So I thought I hit on that. Let me know if I didn't. And then right here, your analysts can coach on the field during practice and games, but they are not coaches and they can't recruit. That was my point. So I said I don't think they can recruit, but Darren was telling me, what's his face from Menace to Sports? What's his name?
Zach Smith.
Zach Smith, who's a former OSU coach, said on his podcast that they can recruit. So I don't know. I agree. I need to clarify, or not clarify, but figure out if they can recruit. All I know is that analysts and grad assistants can now be on-field coaching. That was my position, but apparently Zach Smith, who does another show, former OSU coach, a lot of people are not fans of him.
Wonder why?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, he's got a bit of a personal history. But yeah, so that's where we are with that. Let me know if I'm incorrect, Tim, and we will correct it if I am. But I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure a lot of people think that USC wasn't very clean during that dynasty, but I know Tim might disagree with me, considering
it's kind of the worst kept secret in all of human history that like these programs like USC and Miami and Ohio State to some extent. Like, can we just admit?
Yeah.
I mean, even Michigan to some extent. I'm sure at some point in time there was somebody, some booster or somebody on staff somewhere that was like, "Hey, I got a brother who owns a car dealer, and he's going to give you a job. You're going to be on payroll." But you're never going to have to show up. You're going to get 40 hours a week, but you're never going to. Don't ever worry. You don't ever have to go to the car dealer. You're going to get a check though. Just keep it hush hush. Like it's a thing everyone did.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, dude. Look, college football is not the cleanest sport. It hasn't been the cleanest sport. Things have been going on since the '60s and maybe even before then. But hey, we are where we are now, and at the end of the day, every team can play the game now. So it is what it is. And I don't think anyone. And just for clarity, for my guy Tim, I don't know. He might even be pissed at me or something. Hopefully he's not. But listen, they won that shit. No one's discounting it, and no one discounts Reggie Bush either. And I think we would all agree he should still have his damn Heisman. That was bullshit. They took.
Oh, he absolutely should.
Yeah, no one should. Dude, Reggie Bush was. Dude, hey, you know how much I love Reggie Bush? I'll show you how much I love Reggie Bush. Hold on.
All right. What's he getting here? What's he going to grab? Does he have some? He surely has sports member. Oh, look at that! Oh man. That was a nice time in Detroit Lions history there.
Bro, we are pro Reggie Bush.
Pleasant time. I was just telling the audience that was actually a pleasant time in Detroit Lions history. For a short period, we had Reggie Bush there.
Yeah, I love me some.
He made some plays for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, dude, he was good for a good year and a half. Then he had injury issues.
Yeah.
But all right, let's get to offense for my guy Cody here. All right, so guys, I would name for offense that we need to know and will know. Marlon Klein, tight end, number 2 tight end. I think Marlon Klein's going to blow up this year. I think he's a player that is really good. He's going to that burner role, or that AJ Barner role, where I think he's just going to be the second option, because so much attention is going to be to Colson Loveland, and I just think Marlon Klein's going to be a guy this year. And then I'll name one more. Or how about this? You go, Darren. I don't want to take your shine. You got one for offense?
I really like the Marlon Klein one. You kind of stole my thunder. I'm going to go offensive line, though. I think there are multiple guys along the offensive line that will really step up. I feel like Giovanni El Hadi is a guy that I've been waiting for years now. It seems like it's been a couple years now where it's like, okay, this is his year. And then Trevor Keegan stays. And then, okay, this is his year. And it's Drake Nugent and comes in. Of course, he was playing center, though. So I guess maybe I'm also talking about Greg Crippen here, because Greg Crippen's been waiting in the wings as well. I do think he'll probably ultimately win the starting center job. That's what it sounds like to me. At least all the channels and things I watch out there have mentioned him more as a starting center. But I'm really excited for the offensive line play for all those guys filling in, because it's a totally new offensive line essentially. But these are all really high-rated dudes, and if there's anyone I trust with a new offensive line unit, it's a head coach who's a former offensive lineman himself, in Sherrone Moore. One of my hot takes, one of my bold predictions in that video I released a couple of weeks ago, I actually had Michigan winning the Joe Moore Award for the 3rd time in 4 years this year. That's how high I feel. That's how high I am on their offensive line play this next season. So, yeah.
Yeah. No. And my boy Tim, hey, man, get those articles out, man. He shout out to Tim. Anyone who loves just college football, wants to get familiar with the other channels, USC is their channels, we are trying to learn from the USC channel, to be honest with you. We get a lot of our I've gotten a lot from their channel in terms of they got a call-in show. I've learned a lot from watching their call-in show. Tim writes great articles for Trojan Wire, and Matt Zemek is the shit. So if anyone's just a fan of college football and you want another channel that is on the same level as ours, if not better, Tim Pringley's USC channel, Voice of College Football, give them a subscribe, because we are trying to grow the network, and we appreciate, and Tim had me on, man, and we got to get Tim on, because my guy, he's another ball knower, Darren. He knows his shit. He even checked me. He even checked me a few times. I was like, shit, I better be more prepared next time.
You got to know your stuff. Yeah. I've seen him on from time to time. He's a good dude.
Yeah, Tim's legit, dude. Keegan's Fred Morris. So I don't know if John's still watching, but this is John's guy, bro. So he's on the Fred Moore train. He thinks Fred Moore's gonna win that position over Amarion Walker. And look, maybe I don't know. We're gonna find out with that X position. It's gonna be between Amarion Walker and you know what? We're gonna give a shout out to my boy and teammate Ferris Khan, Jay Sean Barnum. But Ferris, I'll be honest, I think people know. I guess
I was gonna say I didn't mention Jay Sean Barnum because I figured he's a given at this point. He was already a highly touted, highly rated player at Maryland. He was Maryland's best defensive player last year.
Bro, he was Pro Football Focus's #1 linebacker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like he's about to be in all accounts in spring camp. He looked like freaking elite, man. So and then you got Ernest Hausman playing next to him. That's another name, Ernest Hausman. Jeez, dude, Ernest Hausman.
And that's the thing too. If you're a player who really
stands
out on a defense that isn't necessarily that great at a team like Maryland, just think about players are only really good in the context of the players that they're playing with too. Just think about the move to Michigan. He's not going to have to do as much. He can really stick to his role. And Wink Martindale loves a guy like Jay Sean Barham who can flex to edge sometimes, or at least play that what do you call it? Sam is the Sam linebacker out there, blitzing off the edge sometimes, or move into the middle, blitz into the A and B gaps sometimes too, or just be out in coverage. He can do it all. He's just I called him a Swiss Army knife when I talked about him on my channel because I really think he is that as a linebacker. Yeah, he'll be really exciting next season. Yeah,
extremely. I mean, that's what exactly when Wink Martindale's defense. It's gonna be amazing to see how they implement some of these pieces, bro. Because it's gonna be a little different. It's gonna be a little different, obviously. I do know they're gonna still do the coverage disguises. They're translating that, especially Lamar Morgan, who formerly worked with Jesse Minter at Vanderbilt. But yeah, man. I mean, look. I mean, I'm stoked for this season. But So I don't know, Cody. Did that answer your question on who we should be looking out for? What names are going to be on the rise?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm excited about Zeke Berry, especially with losing Rod Moore and Sab transferring to Alabama. I'm excited about Jair Hill on the outside. I can't remember that kid's name that we just got from the D2 school. He was an All-American.
Amir Hall.
Yeah, Amir Hall.
Yeah, he's a baller, dude.
Yeah, I keep reading that Sharon Moore's comparing him a lot to Josh Wallace.
Yep.
And last year I wasn't necessarily excited that we got Josh Wallace, but after week 1, when he showed how athletic he was, I got excited all over again. And on offense, I cannot wait to see what Marlon Klein and Freddie Moore can do. I mean, they both got speed, which I think will help immensely if we start Alex Orji, because they won't be able to stack the box because they'll have to respect that speed. So I think that helps Orji, Edwards, Mullins, Mikey Hall, or Jordan Marshall if they're playing at the third running back spot. So
yeah,
I'm incredibly excited for our offense. I think it's not getting the credit that it deserves.
Yeah, it's just the uncertainty around quarterback, man. I think everyone feels the offensive line is going to step up and play at an elite level because a lot of these guys, we have, Josh Preby, all Big Ten offensive lineman transfer here from Northwestern. We got obviously top 100 Giovanni El Hadi. We got Miles Hitton, another former starter from Stanford, going to play left tackle. And then Andrew Gentry. Andrew Gentry is the one, actually, the right tackle. That's the one position on the offensive line.
That's the one that needs to be. Yeah.
But Andrew Gentry's a former top 100 recruit also. He just went on a 2-year Mormon mission. So, but
yeah,
I'm optimistic. And then obviously our tight ends are stacked. Our running backs, Donovan Edwards, Khalil Mullins, stacked. Wide receiver, we know Samaj Morgan's a freaking legit. He just has to become consistent. He was a freshman last year. That's normal. Now's his time to take that year 2 step. And he had so much playing time last year. He's ahead of the curve, man. So I expect Samaj Morgan to really find his game this year. And then Tyler Morris, we saw him begin to flourish at the end of the year. Look at his play against Alabama. It's his time to shine. And then, so the questions for me on offense are obviously quarterback uncertainty and the X position. Is it Fred Moore? Is it Amarion Walker? I don't know yet. We don't know.
And with the X position too, you can easily rotate those two in for different situations, right? Because they're two different types of wide receivers. I was excited to get Amarion Walker back, by the way, because he is kind of a taller guy who can go up and get some jump balls. And then you also have situations. I think people forget just how multiple Michigan's offense was last year. There were times where they spread it out a little bit, and they had 3 to 3 the field and 1 to the boundary in some of their formations. Where and I like that. Put Colston Loveland over at one end of the field as the 1 to the boundary, and put 3 to the field with Amarion Walker, Fred Moore, and I'm blanking on the other guy's name, but Tyler Morris. There you go. With their speed, and then with Amarion being a guy that can go up and get a jump ball if it is man coverage on the other side of the field as well. I really like those odds too. And I think I was listening to something the other day on Michigan's prospects for next season. They brought up a really great point. Especially if you have Orgy in there, I think a lot of teams are going to come out and play a lot of man and kind of, try to cover our wide receivers and say, okay, Alex Orgy, are you going to be, accurate enough to put the ball in the right position for the receivers? I especially like that if the odds of a Colston Loveland one-on-one, if you get an opportunity in the straight man coverage with just a linebacker or a safety, anyone on Colston Loveland, give me that matchup all day. And the same kind of goes with Marlon Klein, because he really showed out in the spring game as well, especially with that speed and size, that rare combination, So I think there are some, schematic advantages there too with those guys. So it looks promising to some ends for the offense next season.
Yeah. Hey, hold on. Hey, John, I know you're watching, bro. I think Justin's working his way to getting his own emoji, bro. Freaking John's coming through. Justin's coming through here. I believe a third tight end could break out some. Another one from Justin. We appreciate you. So are you referring to Hogan Hansen? Because if so, Hogan Hansen's an up and coming tight end. That he's playing the F tight end. We also have a Y tight end and Deacon Tony Nelly. I'd say Hogan Hansen.
Even mentioned Zach Marshall yet either. I really like Zach.
Well,
Marshall.
He's a freshman though, right? So I have like I have a big thing where I just don't count on, not that freshmen can't do it. We saw Samaj Morgan. We've seen freshmen in the past, Jabril Peppers, but Will Johnson, it took him till the end of the year. I have a hard time personally counting on a freshman to have an impact. It doesn't mean it can't happen. They can, but it's just really rare. And especially at a trench position, unless you're Mason Graham, right? Look at that elite shit. But in a trench position, you got to get your size up. It takes a good year or two in the gym. So
were you thinking Jordan Marshall?
No, Jordan Marshall's the running back.
Right. Okay. Because I did say Zach
Marshall sophomore.
I think he is. He was here last season. He was the hype man on the sidelines all game. Every game. And he gave some great interviews and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Freaking John interviewed Zach Marshall.
Oh, he did? Nice.
Yeah. Our own John Diadamo interviewed Zach Marshall. So shout out to John, bro.
But yeah, I really like your tight end room for the future. I really do.
Bro. And if we got Brady pre-scoring last year. Brady. You know what you do today? You're right. I think it is that. I think you're right, Zach Marshall, because we got Brady pre-scoring last class, and he's elite as shit. And we're on the cusp of getting Andrew Olish, and he's elite as shit. So tight end's doing mighty fine, bro. But yeah, shout out Justin. Thank you, bro. We have another super chat from James Cooper, my guy James Cooper, another member to the channel. We appreciate you, man. $4.99 super chat. I wanted to propose an idea that I haven't seen floated. What if Moore is more polished, modernized version of Jim Harbaugh? Team ceiling instantly skyrockets. I mean, look, he's trying to transfer the culture. He's the way, from all accounts from the official visits are the strength and conditioning programs just as good, and Justin Truss is impressing. Obviously, Abigail O'Connor's still there. That's the head of nutrition. She does a great job. And then not only that, they did a smooth transition of coaching staff from all the coaches we lost. And then he's maintaining defensive philosophies, and the offense is also maintaining, because obviously he was the offensive line coach, and Kirk Campbell was the former quarterback coach who's now offensive coordinator. So there is a smooth transition, and he does have a lot of the same philosophies as Jim. And I guess I would agree in the sense that he is obviously more modern. We see what he's doing with recruiting, but very well, man. We may very well maintain our supremacy in the Big Ten. Darren, what do you think?
Yeah, I really like what he's done so far. We'll say it's really early because we haven't even really gotten into his first season yet. So we'll have to see. It's a results-driven game, obviously. It is a game and a sport at the end of the day. We can like the guy as much as we want to personally and things like that. But if the team doesn't win, the team doesn't win. But I don't think they're not. I don't think they're going to do. I don't think they're going to have a lack of winning around when he's on the sidelines this season.
I'll say this: early returns are good.
Yeah. Early returns are great. People forget
Yeah.
too, he comes from a great coaching tree, even outside of being a Harbaugh assistant, because he goes all the way back to like the Bob Stoops Oklahoma days. He's learned under some great head coaches in his time, and especially for the style of football that Michigan historically likes to play. Michigan's always been
Right.
kind of a good in the trenches, run the football kind of team, and for the culture, he seems like a really good, smart guy, a really young guy at this point for a coach. I say that even though he's 38, which still feels kind of old for me at
For a head
34.
coach.
But right, yeah, for a head coach, really young. He's
Yeah.
fiery. He's out there on the recruiting trail. I think he could really be the modern version of a Jim Harbaugh. But we'll see. Only time will tell. I don't want to get on the hype train too much. I'd say pump the brakes on that just a little bit. But all signs so far, I've been impressed with him at every move he's made. And now, people forget too, like just how much of a setback all that was with Jim kind of, am I going to, should I stay or should I go for a while there? Really affected the recruiting. And Sharon had to take over, a recruiting program that was a little bit behind, NIL program that was behind, a head coach that had played the, flirting with the NFL for 3 years. It really affected some recruiting. And it took a little bit of time, but ultimately only really took a couple of months, 2, 3, 4 months. And now we're number 15 so far. And if we get some more guys, it'll be a top 10 class. And Sharon Moore hasn't even coached a game yet. That is a win in any book, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think early returns into like 3-0. And not only that, obviously we're seeing a recruiting bump that we haven't seen. We see a new philosophy with the recruiting strategy, expanded recruiting department. We have opportunity here, but we have to see it on the field. So we'll figure it out from there. We got another super chat. Damn, Justin coming through again, bro. Justin, how we doing, bro? Freaking, I believe that Coach Campbell is going to open up the passing game. He will have ways to get guys open. I agree that he wants to. He says he wants to open up the pass game, become more aggressive through the air. But I think our quarterback play, I think if it all comes down to quarterback play, he has said, and Sharon has said, the playbook will evolve with our personnel. So if Alex Orji can become a consistent, accurate passer, I agree. Now, Davis Warren, I think, gives them more upside in terms of a more aggressive passing attack. But it may very well be that Alex Orji is capable enough to lead a well-balanced offense that is able to do damage in the air. What do you think, Darren?
Yeah, I think I like the fact that you bring up balance there because, like I said, kind of earlier when we first started the stream, as much as I kind of like the idea of being a ground and pound, borderline Air Force or Army, service academy type of game, the modern game of college football, defensive coordinators are just too good at scheming up ways to stop multiple ways of running the ball. So you are still going to need to throw the ball. You probably need to run a 60-40 clip at the most aggressive end. I would like to see more like 55-45 somewhere in there. But I do think Alex Orji, like we said earlier too, in the spring game, he showed that he could make some throws. He obviously missed on some too. I watched some of the Al Borges, some of his thoughts on WTKA on Alex Orji after having seen him in some spring practices he was allowed into. And he said, you're basically going to have to scheme knowing that he's going to miss some easy throws and factor that in. And I think for a lot of college quarterbacks, we forget that that's kind of a thing. Like average quarterback play is just that in college football. The thing for me is going to be, can he just be a tick above average as a quarterback? Because like we've just gone over for the past few minutes, his supporting cast is going to be great because I do think this offensive line is going to be really good. I do think Donovan Edwards will have a great year. All things seem to be trending up with him. I just saw an interview with him and Sam Webb the other day, kind of talking about how his mental health last season wasn't right, how he kind of wasn't in the right headspace, and now he's got it going. The receivers are good. For as much flack as people give Michigan's wide receiver recruiting, like Fred Moore, Tyler Morris, all these guys were like higher level 4-stars coming out of high school. They're not slouches. And then we have the best tight end in college football. So Davis Warren and some of the other guys give some more upside purely throwing the ball. And I do like the prospects of Davis Warren bringing more of a balanced offense. But again, I really like your point. It's going to have to be a balanced attack. And can Alex Orji give us that, I think is the big question.
Right. All right. Let me address Tim again because he must have not saw my response. Regarding Reggie Bush, man, what I said was, it is, I think, many would say it is agreed that Reggie Bush received financial compensation while he was at USC. Not only that, there is definitely reports that his mother also received a house during his time at USC. Now we also had this discussion where we disagree that his Heisman was taken away. So like that should not have happened. We're pro Reggie Bush. We like Reggie Bush, but to say that USC was running clean during that dynasty, I think a lot of people would question that. I personally think that there was some financial inducement going on during that era. There's a lot of smoke with that. And that's kind of my position on it, man. If you disagree, let me know. But that's where I'm at with it.
Hey, man.
Cody, what
yeah,
up?
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was going to say, Cody, what else you got? No, what were you going to say? What were you going to say, Darren?
I was just saying, it's sports, man. Everyone cheats at some point or another, and especially in college football. I mean, like we pretty much went over a few minutes ago. Like it's a thing that happened. Like with Michigan with the Connor Stalions stuff, man. I'll be the first to admit it's a black mark on the program, but at the same time, like we'll never know the true extent of how much effect it had. And also, Michigan didn't even have him going down the stretch of the season where they played OSU, they played Alabama, they played Washington, they won the national championship. So at some point, we just got to throw our hands up in the air and be like, "Hey, everyone at some point cheats."
And also, like I said, college football is a dirty fucking game, bro. Like, there's a lot of teams pushing a lot of gray areas, bro. And there's a lot of teams doing a lot of things that are not gray; they're very illegal. But like, it's like just don't get caught, right? Like that's the name of the game in college football. You know, like there's I know something Florida State's doing right now that is insane with NIL. Like it's freaking nuts what they're trying, what they're doing to kids with some financial inducements. The kids weren't even committed, you know. And then you have then you have other programs right now handing $3,000 to $5,000 just to come visit. That's against NIL rules, but like whatever, it is what it is. All right, Cody, not to hijack your phone call, man. So my bad, bro. What else you got for us?
No, you're fine, man. You guys got a popular show. I understand. I'm also really excited about our schedule next year. You know, as much as I love blowing everybody out early in the year and moving forward into the season as well, I'm so pumped to play, you know, Texas and Oregon and USC, who I think we're going to blow out. You know, it's exciting, you know, but and you alluded to this earlier, TJ. I truly believe that we're going to beat Texas. It's just something about Steve Sarkisian, you know. I just don't. It's just him and Texas, you know. They just kind of remind me of like Penn State, how they're like really hyped up and they have all these incredibly talented players, but when it comes time to play someone who's as good or better, they get beat. And I just see us bowling them up front, running down their throat and pressuring Quinn Ewers with Moore and Isaiah Simmons off the edge. Or Josiah Simmons, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think the Texas man, I think people see Texas and they saw him in the college football playoffs, and I think also Quinn Ewers gives people like this feeling that they're going to come in here and get this dub, but like they lost a lot, man. And like we have another channel, Texas at the Voice of College Football, Horns Huddle Live. Matthew Miller's on that. I've talked to him, and we kind of we did a little debate on not only the draft but also the future game coming on, and personally, like. He agrees they lost a lot, you know, like it's not going to be this game where Texas is going to come in here and like whoop our ass or anything, or even Michigan should be some, I don't even know. Do you know what the spread is, Darren, by any chance right now?
I don't. I was just about to look it up. I don't have it pulled up here.
I could have swore it was like 3.5
pulled up, but that's not one of them actually.
Yeah, I should probably know that, but the season's 2 months away, so I'm not there yet. But yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think we're gonna. You know, I think we're going to give them a hell of a game. And I think because it's at home, it's going to give us that advantage, bro. I really do.
Yeah, there's just no Xavier Worthies or AD Mitchells on the outside anymore. They don't have that. Right. They don't have that. Yeah, they don't have that wow factor. I mean, they have Isaiah Bond, but Will Johnson kind of seen that last year. So,
I mean, they got talent. You know, they'll reload too, but like it's just unproven.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but also like I believe in. One, our philosophy, right? Like our philosophy is translating. Yeah, we have a new head coach, but like we have a coach who literally was a part of it from the ground up. So, you know, we'll see, man. I mean, it's gonna be the hot outside of the quarterback discussion. The Texas Michigan who's going to win, who's got the upper hand. That debate is going to be another hot topic from now until week 2. You know what I mean? That's just kind of where we are with it.
Yeah, and I bet whoever wins that game is probably move up to the number 1 or number 2 team in the country just based off the initial wow factor. So which will be great, So I just can't wait for the season to see how the recruiting continues to progress. I don't remember who said it, but that gentleman that mentioned Sharon Moore is like a more modern Jim Harbaugh. I could not agree more. He just, the way that he's recruiting, the way that he can relate with young men and their parents. I think it's just sky's the limit for this team under Sharon Moore. But we got to see
Jim Harbaugh
if he can win games
for a reason. I'm sure.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Texas, I did actually pull it up here. They are 25th in returning production, 30th in returning offensive production, and 38th in defensive returning production. So
okay, but they lose 2 starting wide receivers. They lose 2 starting wide receivers, starting tight end, and their 2 running backs.
So that's the thing. They're still only 25th despite keeping their quarterback. And I think a lot of people forget that the returning production metric is kind of weighted weird ways. Like if you lose your quarterback, you fall down a lot more than you fall down if you lose other players. It's interesting. At least that's the way it kind of used to work. Maybe they've changed it. But for them to still be down at 25th with having Quinn Ewers returning at quarterback is an interesting thing.
And losing those 2 big plugs in the middle of their defense, I mean, that just plays right into our game.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna be interested in, and that's the kind of the thing I look for in any Michigan matchup is can we run the ball early? If we can get maybe even if we're not popping off huge runs, get 3, 4, 5 yards at a time, and then by the time you're talking, usually in most games, even against the big programs who have more depth, by the time you get to the 3rd and 4th quarter, those 3, 4, and 5 yard gains are 10 and 15 yard gains because you've gassed guys at that point. So
it's exactly how we beat Ohio in 22. Edwards 4 or 5 yards here, and then 75 and 85 yards later, we're winning by 23 points. So, yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's my favorite style of football to watch, and it could be because I'm a Michigan fan, but I just love beating people into submission and just taking their will and winning the game.
Yeah, and that's gonna be the game plan. The freaking boa constrictor mentality it's not going anywhere, dude. It's just all about, do we have the quarterback to maintain that supremacy or to maintain that capability, keep moving the chains on a 3rd and 4 or whatever. We're going to find out, But all right, Cody, one more question because we hit the 2-hour mark, so we're running over. Yeah, Tim, so so anyways, one more question, man. What else you got for us? We hit the 2-hour mark, and we're going to close the call and show after your question. So what else you got for us, my guy?
And my last question is, how do you feel about us traveling into Washington? I've seen people who are kind of picking us to not look so well in that game, kind of as like the revenge factor for Washington. They're saying it's going to be at night, and obviously the 3-hour time difference, it'll be about 10 o'clock at night. So I was just wondering how you guys feel about that.
Darren, what do you think, man?
Who is saying that? Yeah, first of all, the revenge factor, I don't know how much revenge factor will really be there. I know some guys like Carson Bruner, I believe, are still on the roster, but that team is not going to be the same next season. And I think I had the transfer portal stuff pulled up. That team is, of course, with Jed Fish moving over there from Arizona. This team is basically going to be like a proxy Arizona team from last season with as many guys that transferred from Arizona with Jed. Schematically, I still really like our chances because Jed Fish is more of a spread kind of guy, likes to sling it around quite a bit. They do have the kid that transferred over from Mississippi State. He's decently good. He's very experienced, but I don't see him against the defensive system that Wink Martindale runs being too successful. It's going to be a lot. It's interesting. It's going to be a whole different game in some ways, but it's going to be kind of a repeat of the game from last year between these two teams as well, because while Kalen DeBoer left and Jed Fish came in. I think a big part of the reason of getting Jed Fish after Kalen DeBoer departed is he kind of runs a lot of similar stuff offensively, at least. I don't know anything about like the defense he'll be running down there. I'm sure some Washington fans could correct me there, even with what I'm saying about their offense, but I like the kind of like the rock, paper, scissors schematic matchup. I don't give as much credit to traveling to Washington. I know it's, a long trip and their stadium is a bit of a tough place to play, but it's not a Penn State whiteout. And how excited are Washington fans even going to be at that point in the season if they've lost a couple of games? I did their big season preview on my channel. I did a big season preview video for them. I think I had them at like a 7-5 or 8-4, and I feel pretty confident in that because that team, speaking of teams that have lost a lot, they really have. So yeah, 130th in returning production Washington is.
Yeah, I think they're the only team that I know of with less returning than we are.
Yeah.
My concern level of going to Washington is very low. I don't think they're even going to be coming into the Big Ten, adapting to this style of play. I think Washington's going to find themselves in either the middle of the pack or lower at the end of this, to the lower end of the standings. Their first year back with a new head coach, a new transition, a bunch of players transferred out. Lost a bunch of players in the draft. I mean, Washington, they were in the playoffs, but they are not the same Washington that we know. And they don't reload like that.
Washington was that team that we seem to get every season, like TCU a couple of years ago, and some of the better like Clemson teams that just have an offense that is off the charts. And like the 2019 LSU team, they just have an offense that is off the charts. They've got a future NFL quarterback and future NFL wide receivers, and they can just air the ball out against any defense, except for Michigan's last season, as we all saw, and have success. And they're just not going to be that team this year. I think they're going to have kind of a TCU style regression.
Yeah, I think that's pretty damn spot on, man. All right, Cody, is there anything else before we let you go?
No, sir, that's it. I just, sorry.
All right. No, thank you for calling in, man. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Call in next week, bro. We'll love hearing from you. All right.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Yeah, bro. All right, man. We hit the 2-hour mark.
All right, we did it.
Yeah, bro, we did it, bro. Hey, bunch of good callers. Appreciate everyone calling in, watching. We have over 300 viewers as we speak. We have 100.
Nice.
I think we hit 100 on YouTube, but we got a bunch of others on the other platforms. So we appreciate that. Everyone viewing in, we appreciate that. Before we let you go, I want to share where we are. We are currently chasing the Ohio State channel. We got the Kenneth Grant tracker, the OSU chase down tracker. Help Kenneth Grant get to Ryan Day. If you could please subscribe to the channel. We are the 3rd largest channel in the network. We are trying to catch Ohio State, who happens to be the 2nd largest channel in the network, and that shit's just unacceptable. I think we would all agree. There's not a single thing, not even flipping quarters, not even beer pong, not even water polo, that OSU should ever be above Michigan.
You can't even let them have water polo. Man, you are
can't have it, bro. That's unacceptable too. We can't even, bro. There's
Shout
a reason
out
why
whoever made this graphic, by the way, for using the sad post Michigan Ryan Day.
That was me, my guy. That was
there.
Me.
You go.
But listen, there's a reason why Ohio State is beneath Michigan. All right, that wasn't a coincidence. Or the state of Ohio is beneath Michigan. But all right, man. So let them know where they can find you, Darren.
It's pretty simple. Again, not on Twitter anymore. I'm sorry, Moose, if it seemed like I unfriended you. I did not. Just want to clarify that one more time. And anyone else who may have followed me, not on Twitter anymore. It's just Darren Talks Ball on YouTube. You can find me there, youtube.com/Darren Talks Ball. I do also have a Discord. If you check out my channel, you can find the link to that. And my dogs are starting to bark in the background. I apologize. But that's basically where you can find me. Yeah, thanks. Hey, man, you were excellent tonight. You had a lot of fans. A lot of people enjoyed you being on. Obviously, was I wrong? Was I wrong? Darren is a certified ball knower, bro. Legit. He's always welcome. Hey, man, you are welcome to come back on the show. I'm sure we'll have you on at some point. I got my certificate right up. That's actually a psychology degree. That's not a certificate. Maybe I'll print off a certificate that I am a ball knower. Certified ball knower. I mean, you should, bro. Darren Talks Ball, certified ball knower. It's facts. But all right, guys. My name is TJ Ronan. You can find me on Twitter at TJ_Ronan. Please, hey, if you want to become a member and support the channel, we greatly appreciate it. We have all of our members at the bottom. We had a member hangout yesterday. Went great. We'll do one every month. We'll come up with more and more ideas to make it more fun for everyone who's a part of the channel and contributing. We appreciate that. Everyone who did a super chat, Justin. Yeah,
a bunch of
Justin,
you guys
shout
in
out,
super chat.
man.
I don't even
Yeah.
know if I could name it. Drufus. There's a bunch of you guys. I really appreciate it. James Cooper, really appreciate it, man. If I missed anybody, I apologize. We just had a bunch tonight. But all right, guys, I'm signing out. This is Michigan Football at the Voice of College Football. Do not forget, though, we have our Tuesday show at 8 p.m. And then obviously next week, we have our call-in show. And I will have Dennis 50 in on me as a guest next week. We appreciate it. And as you know, it is always go blue.